Sandra all the time is here with the cold hard truth. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama. Call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. We always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth telling, more problem solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you.
Good morning. It's Friday, November 15th. From Olympic champions diving into their new roles as sports ambassadors, to a high-profile parliamentary luncheon and a sobering court decision in a harassment case, we've got your full coverage this morning. Here are today's headlines with the CMR team.
Today, we're reporting on the Chamber's annual parliamentary luncheon, which took place yesterday at Hotel Indigo. Over 300 people attended the event, including key political, government, and civic leaders. The luncheon provided a unique platform for Chamber members to engage in meaningful discussions with these leaders. Deputy Premier Kenneth Bryan gave the keynote address and discussed the recent political turmoil. He expressed his hopes that his government would still be able to address some of the pressing issues facing the Cayman Islands. The event also included a brief panel discussion, which allowed Chamber President Joanna Lawson the opportunity to ask questions on the state of matters in the country. The Chamber's annual parliamentary luncheon is one of their premier annual events, and it serves as an important opportunity for members to connect with influential leaders in the community.
Turning now to education and a fantastic opportunity to study for free. There's a cool new opportunity for students pursuing technical careers. The University College of the Cayman Islands is teaming up with Polar Bear Air Conditioning to launch a $2,000 annual scholarship. The program specifically targets students interested in air conditioning and refrigeration studies. The scholarship is comprehensive, covering tuition, fees, books, and equipment for students in UCCI's AC and refrigeration program. To qualify, applicants must be Caymanian or permanent residents, show strong academic performance, and demonstrate leadership and service in their community. Polar Bear, which has been keeping Cayman comfortable since 1988, has committed to this 3-year initiative as part of their investment in local talent. The company has grown from its modest start to become the island's leading AC service provider.
A familiar face is taking the helm at the Association for Cruise Tourism. Former legislator Elio Solomon has been named ACT's new executive program manager. Solomon, who currently chairs the Cayman Turtle Conservation and Education Center, steps into this role at a crucial time, just months before next spring's cruise berthing referendum. The announcement comes as ACT gears up for the April 30th vote, which will run alongside our general elections. According to a statement from the organization, Solomon's extensive public sector background is expected to strengthen the organization's voice as they advocate for cruise tourism interests in the lead-up to this significant decision. The timing is critical for Cayman's tourism sector. ACT represents a broad coalition of stakeholders, from tour operators and merchants to restaurants and transportation providers, and aims to establish itself as the leading private sector voice for cruise tourism in our islands. In his first comments as program manager, Solomon says we can expect to hear more about ACT's plans in the coming months, emphasizing their commitment extends well beyond next year's referendum.
Now turning to court news. A disturbing case of harassment has ended with a jail sentence and deportation order. A summary court heard today how a woman subjected her child's father to 9 hours of harassment, including repeated doorbell ringing and returning to his home armed with a hammer. Tavia Leone Wilson appeared before Magistrate Hernandez, pleading guilty to intentional harassment and possession of an offensive weapon. The court heard that on February 4th, Wilson began her harassment at 5:30 in the morning, repeatedly ringing the victim's doorbell. After retreating briefly to her car, she returned and continued ringing for another 10 minutes. The situation took a more serious turn when Wilson left a note calling the man a narcissist and demanding child support money. By 2 p.m. that afternoon, she had returned with a hammer and began banging on the door, all caught on CCTV footage. Despite having booked a flight to leave Cayman this weekend, Wilson will now spend 30 days in custody. The magistrate has also recommended her deportation once the sentence is complete.
A stunning reversal in summary court this week, as prosecutors were forced to drop charges against 2 people wrongly accused of illegal construction. The case centered around a fence that violated planning laws. But there was just one problem. It was actually built by the government. Defense attorney Stacey Ann Kelly revealed the truth before Chief Magistrate Angeline Hernandez, producing a letter from a National Roads Authority consultant. That letter confirmed it was the NRA itself that had constructed the fence, and they'd already submitted an after-the-fact planning application. The mix-up could have had serious consequences for the accused. Under the Development and Planning Act, they were facing potential fines of up to $5,000, plus an additional $1,000 per day for ongoing violations. Instead, they walked free after being cleared of any wrongdoing in what turned out to be a government project. The case has raised eyebrows about how these 2 individuals ended up in court for a violation committed by a government agency.
In today's weather, the National Weather Service is forecasting continued rainfall and potential flooding for today. The Ministry of Education urges parents to prepare their children for wet conditions. If you're sending your child to school today, ensure they're equipped with rain gear, including raincoats and umbrellas. This will help keep them dry during drop-offs, pickups, and moving between classes. School buses will be making adjustments to help students cope with the weather. Where possible, they'll navigate side roads to get closer to homes, minimizing the distance children need to walk in the rain. Parents are being asked to arrange pickups from the bus where they can. Education officials say they monitored the situation closely and will provide updates through social media if conditions worsen. Parents with specific concerns are encouraged to contact their child's school directly.
A significant appointment at the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority this morning. Jessica Ebanks has been named the new head of the Securities Supervision Division, taking up her post as of November 1st. This promotion marks another milestone in Ebanks' impressive career at SEMA, which began back in 2013 when she joined as an analyst. She played a pivotal role in 2017 when the Securities Supervision Division was established, serving as its first chief analyst and building the team from the ground up. By 2020, she had worked her way up to deputy head of the division. Ebanks brings strong credentials to her new role. She's a certified fraud examiner with a degree from the University of Western Ontario, and holds several professional certifications, including qualifications from the Harvard Law School program and leadership training. The appointment marks another Caymanian taking a leadership position in our financial services sector.
A groundbreaking announcement from the world of sports this morning. Olympic swimmer Jordan Crooks has been named as the Cayman Islands' first ever cabinet-appointed sports ambassador. The appointment, announced by Sports Minister Isaac Rankin, marks a significant milestone in recognizing our homegrown athletic talent. Crooks, who's currently studying at the University of Tennessee, has represented Cayman at every level, from Carifta to the World Championships, and most recently at the 2024 Paris Olympics. In accepting the role, Crooks expressed his deep gratitude, pledging to promote not just swimming, but all sports and the opportunities they bring to young Caymanans. He promised to continue making these islands proud. Minister Rankin praised Crooks as a dedicated and hardworking young Caymanian. while Ministry Chief Officer Teresa Echeniki hints at more initiatives to come, celebrating our exceptional athletes. The appointment signals a new chapter in Cayman's sports development, with more programs expected to be announced soon.
That's all for this morning's news. Remember to follow us on social media for updates throughout the day. I'm Ada, wishing you a great Friday. Now turning to Sandy Hill for today's The Cold Hard Truth.
All right, folks. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing? Happy Friday. Everybody's good. It's another beautiful rainy day in the Caribbean. But without the rain, you'd never appreciate the sunshine. Trust and believe me. Without bad politicians, you never appreciate good politicians. How about that? What a hot mess. Good morning, one, and good morning, all. I see all of you beautiful people getting your messages. Yes. Yep. Somebody say, I can't keep up with you, you know. Okay. Good morning. Y'all know where to find me every Monday morning, Monday, Friday. Wait, what day is today? Today's Friday, but Monday through Friday, 7:30, hopefully right here. Got it locked. Although, you know, I gotta do a little Christmas trip. So I'm trying to figure this one out because I not too long got back. So I'm thinking to myself, ooh, then people gonna cuss me on my road, honey child, you going away again? But I like to go a little somewhere for Christmas, even if it's just Miami. See a little Christmas decorations, see all the shops bustling and trying to get their quotas for December. I used to work in retail, you know, when I was a student. So I know a thing or two about retail, honey child. But yeah, and then I like a couple days with just the fam, you know, me and Marlon, and she gets to see Santa. She still believes. I think this might be the last year for real, but she still kind of believes in Santa. She was telling me yesterday that we're going to do a secret Santa at the house. So she made a little envelope at school, put the household names in it. And then I took one out and I picked my person. And then she's like, okay, you can't share it. And I said, okay, no problem. And then 5 minutes later, who'd you get? And I said, I thought you said I couldn't share it. She's anxious. She wants to know who I got. And I said, well, Santa takes care of everybody around here. Now, what we started to do, I'm going to be honest with you, because when you have children, you can waste a whole lot of money and energy on gifts that they're going to pick up for all of 10 seconds. And then they move on to the next one. So what we decided from, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, as she starts to get a little bit older, we pay attention to what she's saying. And then she only gets like one or two things, you know, it's like the birthday presents. We would put them away and be like, okay, you can open one a month between now and your next birthday and kind of stretch it out, because with kids, it's just too much. They get too much. They want too much. And then they don't even appreciate how they get it. So, yeah, you got to be careful the messages that you're sending indirectly about how things just show up under a Christmas tree. So I was saying to her, she said to me she wanted to buy one of her little friends something. And she was like, oh, I was thinking about a Stanley Cup. I don't know. Listen, apparently Stanley Cups are all the rave right now. Y'all know about this? Anyway, and I sent to her a Stanley Cup. Well, I just bought her a Stanley Cup, so I know how expensive they are. And I said, I think that's a pretty expensive gift for you to be given to your friend. Like maybe you guys need to cap it at, you know, $25 or something. They're only 8 years old. And of course, she doesn't know how much a Stanley Cup really costs, right? This is, again, showing you that your kids have no concept of the value of anything unless you take the time to teach them. So I said, no, I think that's too expensive. It really? And I said, yeah. I said, let me put it in context for you. You know, she has her little punch hole, her cards, right? She has to fill up an entire card, which is 21 punches to get a Stanley Cup. And I said, if you were giving that to your friend, it's even more valuable. That's going to be 3 cards. Listen, this is how it works with these kids. Conceptually, there's a lot that they just don't understand. Surely, as adults, we kind of remember a little bit what it was like to be a kid. Like your parents would say something to you and you're like, didn't quite understand it. I'm going to show you all the punch cards again. You didn't quite understand the concept. And then sometimes they had to illustrate things to you to make it sink in. So when you have a visual tool, let me show you all the visual tools around here. When I can pull out a card and say the value of that, if you were giving it to your friend, is going to be 4. Look at the little punch cards now. It's going to be, oops, let me see. Oh, hold on. I got a new feature I want to try out. This might be the good time to try this. Hold on. It's going to be 4 of these. Look at that. Look at that. It's going to be 4 of these. And then she's like, what? 4 of those? But it takes me forever to earn 1. And I said, yep. Imagine how long it's going to take you to earn 4 to give to somebody else. This is what it says in the back. 21 days to construct a new nerve channel. Human behavior will form into habit after 21-day repetition, and the habit will be stable after 90 days. Name, and then you put here what they're working towards. And then you put their name on this side. So it's Gigi's best behavior punch card. And then, where's my little puncher, by the way? I have 2 of them, but one of them is shaped like a little heart. So cute. So you can get these, you guys know where, off my favorite place, Amazon. For some reason, Instagram just dropped out. Oh, Lord. Don't make Facebook drop, Naina. Ooh, do you guys like the circular look a little bit more? I'm feeling it. All right. So we lost Instagram. Let's try bringing them back in. Pour them. I find my live streaming system has been a little bit unstable this past week. I don't know if it's Facebook's fault because they own Instagram. They're Meta, so they own Instagram and Facebook. So it could totally be them. Who knows? Anyway, the punch card really helps to, make them work towards something that they can actually earn. So good behavior. You want them to improve on something, reading every day, work out something with the punch card. Don't just give them something. Listen, something she said about, but Santa has a budget because he's just going to make it. He's going to just make it at the North Pole, Mom. He's not going to buy it. And I said, this would be the last year you say anything about Santa to me. So I said, well, actually, yes, Santa has a budget. No circular look, says Shaka Zulu. How the rest of you feel about it? Does anybody like the circular look? It's something different. Kind of feeling it. Let's go with it, Shaka, for a little minute. Let it seep in, and then see how you feel halfway through the show. So we have circular. We have like this square, which is more like Instagram square. We've got the full one. And then, I think this is the same as the other one, right? Those are the same. All right. I think the color of the comments show up differently. Let's see. So we can do a hot pink. Woo, honey child, look at the hot pink. Or we can do the orange. Oh my God. Bright. Or we can do a little purple. Let's go with the purple circle for a minute. All right. Good morning, my beautiful, beautiful people. We got Miss Brenda. What do you guys think about the news? We've incorporated some local voices now. Let me be honest. AI does not understand Caribbean people like that. So it's still not going to keep the people who submitted, and thank you to all of those who submitted their voices and permission to use it. They sound like a Caymanian, but when AI is finished with it, not so much so. So we kind of mix it up. We've got about 4 or 5 different people now, and we have everybody else, every other person like reading a news story. Morning to Miss Jean. Stephanie Brooks is in the house. Good morning, Stephanie. Cayman Kind is here. Good morning, madam. I saw you at the meeting the other day. It was good to see you. Miss Barbara is here. Linda, happy Friday. Good morning to Abby. Pat, how's it going? Diamond Princess in the house. Hey, Diamond Princess. Olivia is here. Shaka, good morning. Happy Friday. Datsy Powell, good morning to you, beautiful. How you doing? Damaris, yes, sir. KYC, or are you in Cayman? NYC or KYC? That's what I should have said. All right. Buenos dias, Miss Alba. Sarah's here. Miss Sherry Ann in the house. Jean says, how did two defendants end up in court for a fence built by the NRA? How did it get that far before the truth came out? Ooh, honey child. Somebody says, well, don't you look festive this morning with green soft lighting in the background? It's the same lighting, believe it or not. I wish I had like a legit answer for you on how this happened, except to say, clearly the prosecutors need a little bit of work. You would think the simple stuff is what they get correct. I mean, the easier it is, the easier it should be for you to sort it out. But honey chow, I mean, on the one hand, we're all human beings. Yes. So there's that. But boy, they sure do make a lot of mistakes sometimes. It makes you wonder who's reviewing the file. Because you see, somebody has to make a ruling on the file. So you don't just show up with a ruling having been made by just one person. You know, police, it depends on what agency it's coming from. Police normally get the complaint. They'll do the investigation, pull the evidence together. They submit their file to the DPP's office for a ruling. Now, when it comes to these other agencies, Labor Department, for example, Customs or whatever, they have their staff responsible because they have policing powers. It's very, very similar to police. Like they have the power of arrest and all this other stuff, right? So they're in charge with and entrusted with carrying out the investigation. And they have to write up their reports and go the whole 9 yards. So how it gets to the DPP when it's an agency is a little bit different because it can come directly from like border control, labor and pensions, DLP. And then they write it up and hand the investigation over. But the DPP's Office of Public Prosecution, they're ultimately responsible for reviewing what has been submitted, making a determination whether or not charges will be laid. So in other words, your facts might be right, but this might not be a criminal offense. So the DPP in their legal training and legal knowledge have to make that call. And part of their job as well is to actually look at the factual nexus of what has been provided to them and see if there's any gaps, any holes, any questions, all of that. So, you know, sometimes, Miss Jean, you will want them to, and they should be asking these questions when it comes to property, like, how do we know this person owns the property? Or how do we know that they're in breach of, you know, erecting an illegal fence? I would have thought that some evidence would have been provided that demonstrated that the person did what you're actually charging them with. I mean, it's like criminal law 101. All right. You said I murdered this person. Well, you better make sure it was me. I don't have an alibi, or it wasn't somebody else. So identification of who did what is so critical to any case. So I honestly, don't know how they missed it. I mean, it seems like it's criminal case 101. Pretty wild that they did. What a mess. So yeah, it turns out the NRA are the ones who actually built it, and not the person who was in court being accused. What a hot mess. Good morning, Aliano, Kathy, inspiring Miss Paula Matfield. Good morning to you. So I wish this person says true ineptitude. Yeah, it's next level. And even if because they have regular crown counsels, senior crown counsels, and normally you have I don't work in the DPP's office, so procedurally I don't know what they got going on over there these days, but you would normally, I have actually, when I was in law school, I was there for a little stint, an internship. Normally you would have, if a crown counsel is handling it, you might have someone who is part of the senior team, senior crown counsel or assistant DPP, or, the head of the DPP, the director. You might have them review certain files, just to make sure, like, okay, you made a ruling, have a second pair of eyes look at it. And there should really be questions. And in all rulings, there's the basic things that are actually identified. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
How you doing?
Not bad.
Mm-hmm.
What would discourage the DPP's office from being so reckless with people's rights?
If somebody actually held them accountable?
Yeah, like
what I'm saying. What would, if somebody actually held them accountable?
Yes, but is there's nothing prescribed that says, well, if you disregard someone's right, here's what's going to happen to you.
Not usually, because the person then has to, it's not an automatic thing. The aggrieved party has to then sue or seek some sort of redress. I think this person is probably going to just get their costs covered because they actually had to hire an attorney to fight this situation. Mm-hmm.
So the system is designed so there are automatic, and in some cases there are strict liability situations when the public does something wrong. But when the state does something wrong, no. You have to go an extra step to hold them accountable.
Yes.
Really?
Yep. That's normally how it works.
No, I understand that that's the case. It's just that I'm trying to highlight how ridiculous this is and why they just have such disregard for a person's right.
And that's not unique to us, to be clear, Denny. I mean, most places in the world, that's how it is. Once the state wrongs you, you need to find a lawyer and you need to fight them and do whatever. So Cayman is no exception in that regard.
Yeah. But however, they need to do better, because whenever they're exercising their powers, there needs to be some sort of check, even if it's a question at the various stages of the review process before they take someone to court. Are you sure? Something. You understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
At a very minimum.
I mean, like I said, within their own organization, they should have these checks and balances in place. They should have a second pair of eyes. I don't know who the prosecutor was in this case. Is it a situation where they're new to the world of prosecution and they just made a mistake? Because they tend to get like the traffic court and a lot of the summary court matters. That's how they get trained. So, a lot of times they're new to this. But I've seen even senior people who are not new to this make some mistakes and a degree of ineptitude that, but if there's no accountability, like, I don't know what now happens to this person. The head of the DPP, he doesn't talk to the public. So we don't know how this happened or how it's going to be corrected, or, Yeah.
Well, I'd sure CMR can find out what's going to happen. Have a good day.
We have very few friends left in the DPP's office, honey child. They've all ran away. Miss Iva, good morning to you. Inspiring, say, may I give my opinion about the voices in the news? I think you should only use 2 voices, yours and one other. I don't even want to use my voice at all, to tell you the truth. But you know what is so funny? Inspiring. When I did them, the ones that sound the most like the person, because of course I'm not telling you guys who the other people are, because they may wish to remain anonymous. Some of you might be able to guess, but the one that sounds the most like the other person's, I think my voice was just kind of weird. Like, I listened to it afterwards, which I know when you listen to your own voice is not quite the same as when somebody else listens to it. Like, you hear yourself differently. But I feel like of all the voices, mine is more identifiable than anybody else. Is it just me, or do you think I'm onto something? Morning, Debbie. Sending good morning greetings to Mr. Zeus. He's not in the studio. He's around the place somewhere. Erica, hello, good morning. Jamila says, true, a little girl saw me with my Stanley Cup on Monday and want me to buy her one. Like a total stranger? I don't know what the obsession is with Stanley Cups. I think they're actually kind of ugly personally. But yeah, they're not cheap for a cup. They're like high-end, honey chill. But Gigi was really into it. I heard her talking about these Stanley Cups and she wanted one. So when we were in Atlanta back from South Africa the other day, we went to Target for a little bit and I ended up seeing one there. And I thought, oh yeah, she's been going on and on about these Stanley Cups. Let's get her one. Morning, Brother Paul, joining us from Bermuda. Shaka Zulu, is it growing on you? Morning, Jim. Says it's like watching you through a telescope. It is. Good morning. Let me see, who is this on Instagram? One Pet Care. Says good morning. Good Sandy. Sorry. Dyslexic moment. Morning, Sandy. General. Morning. Shaka says that's only good for you for sharing the screen with other persons on the call. Ooh, we do have a guest who's going to come on later. We'll try it and see how that looks. Full is better, says Simply C. JOCC, enjoying looking at you through a rifle telescope. Jonathan, who's JOCC again? Juliana O'Connor Conley. Lord Jesus, poor her. No mess. Some of y'all were like, Sandy, you really put her in her place yesterday. And I'm like, it's not even about her. Y'all need to remove the person. I know it's hard, but it's really more of a principled situation, a position. By the way, let's talk about something else. So shall I go back full screen then? Melita says, I don't like that look. I want to see your flag. Oh, Lord. Y'all are so used to what you're used to and nothing else. All right. Let's go back then. All right. There you go. Y'all satisfied? Sometimes you got to change things up. Y'all not used to change, not at all, boy. Heaven forbid. Y'all sleep on the same side of the bed every night. So listen, I ran into someone yesterday and they were saying to me that perhaps I should address this. Now, I'm a little bit blind on this topic. So I'm going to address it, but I don't know how to address it because it is something that simply isn't true. So it's hard to address something that isn't true sometimes, But someone or some ones, it could be more than one person, is going around claiming that I have a hard on for the PPM because I think what the person was saying, although she didn't come out and say it exactly, but what this other person was telling her was, oh, why do you listen to Sandy and anything that she has to say? Because she's a thief. She stole from the PPM. And I'm like, oh, excuse me? Come, Stacey. I'm like, I did what? Now, this is the first time I'm hearing this, although she said to me that she thought she saw a comment a couple of months ago where somebody in the comment section said something about me and PPM and I addressed it. I don't actually know anything about this. I don't recall I mean, it's a very serious allegation to call somebody a thief. And quite honestly, I'm offended, right? Because I'm not a thief. But I don't know where this would be coming from. And I would dare anybody to call in and make that accusation and give me some of the details about what this is supposedly about. Because let me put it in context. So those of you who are listening are like, huh? What? 21 years ago, I helped when the PPM got started. And Denny can tell you this. Denny, maybe you can call back in and, you, Billy Adam, so many of us were on the ground, like thick as thieves, literally, but not thieves, in the whole setup of the PPM. So you can tell me, and you remained a member long after I have left. If you've ever heard this story before, Denny, I would love to get an independent perspective on this. But supposedly, I set up the office. And Denny will remember because he was actually helping me with some of the IT specs and whatever. In fact, I recall even getting on a plane, going to Miami, having ordered the equipment, brought it in, set up the PPM office, the whole 9 yards. And around that same time, 2003, I would have also been starting my own business, Micromatrix and whatever. And I can assure you that the money I got to do that was actually from my father's estate, like what he left. And I used that as my kind of starter money for my business. So it's a strange story. And so I don't know how to address it because I don't really have any details, but I can tell you that that's not what happened at all. In fact, Denny can also, I don't want to put anything in Denny's mouth. Actually, Denny, you know what? I'm going to call Denny. Hold on. I'm going to call him. Because I want to see if Denny remembers why I left the PPM. So before I say anything more, let's get an independent recall of events. Now, 21 years ago is a long time. And so I don't know how much he may or may not remember about 21 years ago. So let's pick his brain this morning. Hi, Abby. I have a green screen that I'm about to sell to somebody because it takes a lot of setting up and down of a green screen. Morning, Denny.
Buenos dias.
All right, I got a question for you. Now, you and I were some of the biggest supporters back in the day of PPM when they got started. I'm going to talk about party politics here in a minute. We did retreats together.
Before they went off the rails?
We did retreats together. Remember the one that we did north side?
Yeah.
So, we've been in it. You know what I'm saying? Long nights, me, you, Billy, at your place, trying to put together the organization's constitution, trying to set up this party to operate in the right way, right? Okay. Do you remember, and tell me what you remember, because I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you remember when I was the person who set up the first PPM office?
Vaguely.
Do you remember where the office was located?
No, I can't actually remember where.
It was Brother Tommy's building. Upstairs, yes, Brother Tommy's building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, our recollection of events, this is kind of an interesting exercise because our recollection of events, normally we recall events that we were directly involved in. If it was somebody else, not so much so, right? So I remember it was Brother Tommy's building, and I remember kind of what the office space looked like because I was doing a lot of the legwork. Do you remember having any input in helping me order a computer for the office and kind of getting some of that stuff set up?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever heard a story about me taking funds from PPM, misappropriating funds? First of all, I wouldn't have had access to funds, but let's just say for argument's sake that this person has a leg to stand on. You've been there even after I long left. Have you ever heard this story before?
No, I don't have any recollection of you being accused of theft.
Right. Do you have any idea why I stopped working in the PPM office?
Not specifically. Those types of details are not things that I would have say, I need to make a note of them.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you a story and I'm going to see if that jogs your memory at all. Do you remember back in the day something called voice over IP?
Absolutely.
And there was a callback service where you could I think you went online and you ordered the call and it called your phone. And then basically you're bypassing Flow to try and save money. Because back in those days, Flow was the big bad wolf in terms of there was so much money to make calls. So do you remember anything about the callback services, voice over IP?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is when it was first getting started. Is that jogging your memory now? Anything about the PPM office and myself?
Yeah, a little, but like the specific details, it's kind of hard to remember those kind of details specifically, but I do remember the service being used.
Yes. So let me now inform people what actually happened, why I stopped working in the PPM office. So I used the service while I was there in the office, just trying to save people money, because this is what, all of us were trying to do back in the day. Someone at Flow, because this is when they used to spy on us and they could see what we were doing, what we were using our internet for.
They're still doing that, by the way.
They contacted the PPM office and said, oh, Sandy's sitting at your office using a callback voice over IP service. That's against our commercial terms of agreement. So your organization, your office is in breach of it because she's sitting at your office and doing it. And so Kurt Tibbetts, I can call Kurt Tibbetts this morning. Hopefully he'll remember. I mean, I don't know. Oh, the radio's gone. Are you kidding me? Why would the radio be gone? And so Kurt Tibbetts, I don't know, like I said, if he would remember this, but he would certainly be able to vouch for it if he has any recollection. And that's what it was. And I remained a party member. We were still on amicable terms. There was no hard feelings there, whatever. They claimed that this went against their contract with, the only telecom, I guess, we really had at the time, and Ray, and whatever. And so now years after that, I resigned from the party. Do you remember why I resigned from the party? Probably not.
Not specifically. No.
Yeah, I resigned from the party.
Those are not like big ticket items to remember.
And it wasn't anything that would have made the news or anything like that. But I resigned from the party because I was actually starting my own talk show. And so I said to them, that would have been Straight Talk. I said to them at the time, with me starting a talk show, I needed to be independent in the sense that no one can say, oh, well, she's a PPM member and here she is in a talk show. How can she talk about political things when she would be swayed one way or the other? And that's when I tendered my resignation. If they still have the email, they can certainly go and have a look at it. Anyway.
Yeah, and actually there was discussion about, the PPM wanting to start its own radio program. And like my advice to them at the time was to not do that.
Right.
What I said was, look, you need to go out into the marketplace and just defend yourself, promote your positions, and just be in a platform that, I know it's not going to be completely neutral, but that's life, and you got to learn to survive in the real world. Don't create an echo chamber. That was my advice to them.
Yeah. Thank you, my dear.
All right. Take care.
Okay. So I'm looking at the radio situation. Give me 1 second. It looks like, let me see if I can message them. They might have to restart something on their end. It's actually kicking me out of their portal. Portal and can't get back on. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, everybody has a different recollection of events and how things happened and whatever. We're more likely to recall things that involved us directly and happened to us. And there's a lot that I do remember from that time. In fact, I would tell a funny story. Let me see if we can get back on radio. I would tell a funny story about this. And I think that, Denny may not find it funny, but there was a time when, let me just see here. Let me see if I can get some radio help. Yeah, I think they might have to restart something on their end. It's not allowing me to connect now at all, actually. It's just automatically kicking me out. There was a time when Kurt Tibbetts, and I feel like one of these days I'm going to call Kurt Tibbetts, and I know he can answer my phone. I know he can answer me. Honey, chill. Let me see if I have his number. So Kurt Tibbetts. Okay. Let me see something here. All right, give me 1 second, radio folks. Let's see if we can get back on. All right. So there was actually a story with where Kurt Tibbetts said to me one day, do I have Kurt Tibbetts? I don't even have, I mean, it's been a minute since I've actually spoken to him. I guess I don't really have his number anymore. Kurt Tibbetts. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I still have Kurt Tibbetts' number. He actually said to me and Denny, and what was embarrassing about it is he actually said it in a public, like at a meeting. And this is why I said Denny might be a little bit embarrassed by this. And, I am too. He actually said that there were people who thought, did he say it at a meeting, Denny? I'm trying to remember. But there were people in the PPM ranks who thought something was going on between Denny and I. You all know what I mean? And we were like, why would people think that? Because obviously a man and a woman can't be friends in the Caribbean without something going on. You all know how you Caribbean people think. And so there wasn't anything going on, so I was like, okay. Lord have mercy. They need to worry about who else they've been having stuff going on with. Yeah, the radio situation, Nicole, I'm trying to see if we can get that sorted. Richard said it was called Best Net Call. I don't even remember what it was called. Back in
the customer you are trying to contact is...
Kurt and I answering the phone, honey chill. Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but I do know, like, you went online and you said, like, where you were calling from and then what number you wanted to call overseas. And it was like pennies on the dollar compared to what you could get otherwise, like what you're paying. And they didn't like it. And so they would actually go and complain. So Cindy said that would be a fantastic housewarming gift, the green screen. Cindy doesn't even go live enough to have a green screen. Let me be honest. That's for someone who does serious content creation. Mine is still in the box because setting it up and taking it down, you kind of need almost a dedicated space for that to really work. So one day I'll probably get it back when I get, dedicated show space. Yeah, I know nothing I can do about it. Hoping that they will fix. Hold on. I think there's a Bobo. Good morning. Anyone can check the connection on your end, as I'm not able to log in this morning after being on for about, 45 minutes. Maybe their internet on their end might be a problem. This is why you gotta have redundancy with internet providers. All right, so let's go ahead and bring Tiz in. We're gonna talk to Tiz for a little bit this morning. And then hopefully during this conversation, we can have the radio feed come back. Let me see here. Tiz, give me one quick second. All right. Okay. Honey chill. All right. This is a really good conversation this morning. I think a lot of you are actually going to quite appreciate this one. This is one of those kind of nuances in law, I like to say, where you don't really think about it. And then you go, interesting. Good morning, Tiz.
Good morning, Sandy. Happy Friday.
Yes, thank you. Happy Friday to you as well. Rainy day, so it's a perfect day to kind of just stay inside, get some work done and chill.
Yep, I agree.
We haven't seen you in a minute. How have you been?
Excellent. Everything's good, but busy like you. And yeah, it's been a while, but I'm happy to be back.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Morning, Keisha. Morning to the close to 500 people that we have on the live stream this morning. Like I said, hopefully we can get the radio back up. See if we can get them to look at it in the meantime. So, Tiz, first of all, saw you at Rundown. It was so good to see you and your daughter there. She looks so much like you. I mean, she's like your, as we would say, your stamp.
Really?
Yes.
I get, she looks like my husband. My other daughter looks even more like me.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, I think she looks a lot like you. But do you think she got a lot of the jokes like after the show? Do you think she got a lot of the jokes, or was she kind of like, Mom?
No, I think she was into it. Yeah.
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 Awesome. Yeah, no, it was a good show. It was definitely a good show.
Hilarious.
Yes, for sure. All right. Well, we got some good, we always have really interesting conversations with you, and this will definitely be no exception. Mental health and personal injury claims. I got to tell you that this has never crossed my mind until you brought it up. So what is this all about?
So I don't know if you know, but October 10th was World Mental Health Day. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of tie that in. I know it's November. We're a little bit late, but better late than never.
Yeah.
Mental health is a huge issue these days. It's everywhere. And we're finding that more and more it's creeping up into personal injury claims. So I wanted to shed a little bit of light on that topic and hopefully clarify some things that people may not, like you said, have thought about when it comes to trauma. So personal injury claims, usually when you're getting in an accident or you're hurt on the job or something, most people, doctors especially, they focus on broken bones and whiplash and scars. But trauma extends beyond actual physical injuries. And sometimes it takes us a minute to actually realize that there's emotional and psychological tolls that are placed on you when you go through a trauma. And mental health is also an important key aspect to a personal injury claim. So, the first thing doctors look at is the physical, and then later on, people start to realize, geez, like I'm really affected when I'm in a car. I'm nervous. I don't like driving anymore. And, all those issues are unresolved unless they're actually brought to light. And a lot of people don't think of it in that way or even complain about it to their doctors, but it's an actual injury, and it's actually worth something when you have these types of issues. And when they're dealt with, when they're brought to light, they can become part of your claim. So I don't know if I have access to the slides. No. Okay. So addressing mental health matters in personal injury claims is an important aspect of them. Like I said, there's a whole different section of the Judicial College Guidelines, which is the guidelines that we use in the Cayman Islands, and it's based from the UK. It is a book that has all the different types of injuries that you can ever have, and they're ranked into categories from most severe to minor, and psychological injuries are a part of that. So it's recognized by the courts as an actual injury, and they impact people's lives. So it could affect the stress level that you're under, how you operate in your daily life, how your sleep is, how you function at work, and how you interact with people in your day-to-day relationships. Some of the conditions that are, recognized by doctors and experts in this field is post-traumatic stress disorder. That comes up a lot, anxiety, and also depression. So these types of injuries can be just as debilitating as any physical injury or broken bone, and it can lead to years of mental stress. So if they're not appropriately dealt with, they can just drag on and cause problems in the future. So, excuse me, that's why it's so important to document these kinds of claims with evidence. So it's not just beneficial for you in your recovery, but it also strengthens your claim. And a lot of people, they overlook that, or they don't mention it to their doctors. They just kind of struggle with it internally. But actually talking about it with somebody and having that documented supports your claim with strong evidence. So we like to, if we see a client struggling, we like to refer them to a mental health provider to maybe get some therapy and to get documentation as to how much this is affecting your life, and whether treatment could help that or not. And I remember having a claim many years ago where there was my client was in a tractor trailer and he was backing up into his yard. It was at night, and he had all his four-way blinkers on. He had all the lights on, illuminated in his house, outside of his house. He was backing into his driveway. It was on a rural road. And this elderly couple just came flying by this dark little road. And I don't know what happened. They did not see the lights. They did not pay attention to what was in front of them. And they slammed right into the back of his trailer as he was backing into his driveway, and they died instantly. And my client, his life stopped. He felt such guilt, such tremendous PTSD. He couldn't drive the truck anymore. He couldn't go back to work. He was a young guy, and his life basically stopped. He needed so much therapy to get over that event, even though it wasn't even his fault. He did everything that he should have done while making that maneuver, and these people died. And it was just heartbreaking to see what he went through. So that claim was purely psychological in nature, and I was able to help him get a settlement that would recuperate all of the therapy and counseling and all the help that he needed, and into the future, because this was like something that obviously changed his life. So that's just an example of how much these claims can be so significant. So this is documenting it, talking to your doctors, getting help, getting a referral to an expert who can help you along with this. And if you're not sure where to turn, we're always here to help you, to guide you, and to put you on the right path to recovery. Next slide. Sandy, can you change the slide?
Yeah, nope. I was just saying to give me one quick second. I'm going to play a commercial to try to get the radio to kick back in.
Sure.
So I am reconnected. So let's try that.
Recover Personal Injury Attorneys, helping injured people get what they deserve. Did you know that insurance companies have lawyers that represent their interests? Before signing and accepting any settlement, know your rights. Call us today for a free consultation at 924-9999. That's 924-9999. Recover. Your personal injury attorneys are on standby to assist.
Crichton Properties is one of Cayman's most trusted real estate companies for over 50 years. We offer a diverse selection of property listings and help our clients navigate the world of buying or selling their properties with confidence. Crichton is a name you can trust with our excellent customer service and family-friendly touch. Contact us today to list your home, land, or condo for sale by calling 949-5250 or email info@crichtonproperties.com. Crichton Properties.
All right, folks, my apologies. I had to play almost the entire song for it to hear that I was actually there. Ay, ay, ay. All right, Tiz. So you're talking now about the importance of actually documenting it. Now we're going to talk about the psychological evaluation, kind of how that happens, because obviously anybody can say they're having mental stresses, but how do you prove that at a level that would be acceptable when it comes to court proceedings or litigation?
That's a great question. So, if you're struggling with these types of mental health issues, telling your lawyer or telling your family members or your friends about it, it doesn't count because it's not documented properly. So, what we like to do is refer to a psychological expert who will meet with you and go through a whole evaluation. They'll take your past history, if you had one. They'll do some testing on you to see, the level of, let's say, depression or anxiety or PTSD that you're going through. And then they will make an actual diagnosis and refer you to therapy if you need it. So these are the experts that deal with this, that they've studied it and they deal with it daily and they know what they're doing. And they help us guide you where you need to go. And hopefully with some therapy, your symptoms can improve. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes, you need medication even to help you along that route. But there are experts that just deal with this, especially. And those are the people that we look to provide solid evidence of the extent of the damage of the mental distress.
Mm-hmm. Wow, very interesting. Okay. So compounding effects then of mental trauma. So this is something where someone has like a pre-existing condition already.
Exactly.
But normally in law, the rule is you take your victim as you find them.
That's right.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, people have gone through a traumatic event in their life, at least one. And sometimes, they've received help and they've gotten out of it and they're able to, go back to their baseline and live their lives and be okay. And then they get into an accident and that triggers something else that brings up not only the new event, but also the past trauma. And those types of cases are more difficult because it often takes longer to progress because there was a previous traumas. And so, again, this is why it's so important to get an expert to help establish what their level of mental distress is, and also to quantify, like, okay, maybe if there was nothing there before, this person could have made a full recovery within, let's say, a year. But because there was pre-existing stuff, now it's going to take double or triple the amount of time to get over this. They're going to need more counseling. They're going to need more care. They're going to need more time. And so that affects the value of your claim as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very, very interesting, folks. 936-2626. If you have any questions for Tiz, this is her area of expertise. Shannon says depression is a serious thing. When I was diagnosed 5 years ago, I still didn't believe my doctor. But as I learned more and more about depression, it all made sense what I was going through. So is it a situation, as Shannon said, that sometimes, although it might be triggered by the event, that you're not even going to get a proper diagnosis until years later, or you yourself are not going to realize that you need to seek professional mental health services? And then what do you do at that stage? Like if it's a year after the accident and you've already wrapped things up nicely and gotten a little payout for your car and your broken leg, but you didn't realize that you were actually having mental health stresses, how do you address that?
So that's why it's so important to actually retain an attorney that does this stuff, because these issues could be flagged from the outset. Once you settle your claim, The property damage, so the damage to your car is totally separate. That can be concluded way before. But we do have 3 years is the statutory limitation period to make a claim after you've been involved in a motor vehicle accident. And we don't push clients to settle their claim straight away, because these things can pop up exactly like you said. So usually the first thing the doctors do is focus on the physical injuries. When those subside, you might be feeling, whoa, like I'm in a dark place. I don't like getting up in the morning. I don't have energy. I'm just kind of blah. I'm not myself anymore. I never used to be like this. And talking to your attorney and talking to your doctor, they can get you the help that you need. And these claims can be included in your claim for your personal injury. And so that is a settlement that, would be much larger than just, for example, the broken bone. But again, you need experts, and you need people that know what they're doing, that can help guide you down the path. And that's why we suggest that you be open with your legal representative. You tell them what's going on, and then we can help you sort it out and send you to the people that could help you. And that will help your claim as well as yourself mentally in your mental state.
Very interesting. All right. Yep. So mental health and PI claims moving toward complete justice.
So as I mentioned before, mental health injuries are real and oftentimes just as disabling as the physical injuries, sometimes even more. So we need to make sure that these are included in your claim, that they're well documented, that we get you assessed, and we get you the therapy that you need, and then we can see whether, depending on how severe it is, hopefully it won't have a lasting impact on the rest of your life. With counseling, I've seen people completely turn around, and that evidence is what the insurance companies and the lawyers for the insurance company are looking for, so that they could clearly understand the whole impact an accident has on your life. So that's what we need to seek justice in a complete way. These mental health claims are important to bring to light and to document and to have as part of your entire claim.
Okay, we do have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. How are you?
Not bad, dear. How are you?
Good.
Good.
I had an accident. April gone was 2 years. And now that I'm hearing that it has a mental health stress on you, I get so nervous. Like this young lady hit me from nowhere. I didn't even see it. I just felt it. And, I've never been the same. I get nervous now. Sometimes I see a car coming. I do. And depressed. I wasn't depressed, and I got depressed. And sometimes I don't want to drive. And, and now I'm hearing this. It makes all the sense, but you don't even think it's related. But it started happening from the time I had the accident, because I didn't see her. She came from nowhere. And it was such an impact that even my little dog that I had in there, he was a nervous wreck. So months. Yes, even the dog, he wouldn't bark no more. He was just silent. And because I had picked him up from being groomed down the street, and she hit me up the street, and I have never. And I wonder why. Sometimes I can't even concentrate. Like people call me, send this for me, send me, and I feel so overwhelmed, And the next thing that happens to me, like if I go shopping now, I can't even carry the bags for a long period of time. My back gives way on me, like the shopping bags and stuff. And I've been to the doctor and I've tell them, and they say, okay, well, it'll get better. And sometimes, but it still does. And with the weather, I find now, like my back will take in. So, but mentally, it has affected me because I kept saying, but I was never nervous, and now I'm nervous. Sometimes I see a car coming, it's like, oh, and it coming too fast or the light's too bright. I just get, that kind of thing. And I don't drive as much at nights anymore because I don't even hardly go by the gas station anymore because for some reason I see a car coming out or something. I drive the main road because it happened right by the gas station. Rube was right up there in Red Bay. I go on the highway most of the time and I don't hardly pass that place right there. It's like you get nervous, and I have never been a person to be nervous or frightened or, or anything like that. I've always been one that it happened and I just move on. And I was saying, well, I'm getting older. So I was thinking that, that's what it is. But now it makes all the sense to me. And I thank you for this because I never thought about it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the information.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I love when Tiz comes on, because I feel like she always makes us think a little bit like, didn't know that, hadn't thought of that. So thank you for sharing your story.
Yes, thank you. This is a classic example of what people go through. All of the things that poor lady caller just said are all valid. They're all true. I hear it a lot over and over again from people, but it's interesting to see how she didn't make that connection until now.
Yes.
And blamed it on getting older.
Yeah.
No, that's actual trauma that she went through. And it's amazing how much it affects you.
All right. Miss Lucille says, Sandy, good morning. I'm listening carefully to the lady this morning. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Mental health is very secret. Very secret. Something mixed up there. Know where it's coming from. That lady knows what she's talking about, but in Cayman, I think it is about 80% of people home are suffering from it, but they're ashamed to talk about it. Speak up, people. There is no shame. Thank you, Miss Lucille. So, a traumatic event of any kind, I can certainly see how an accident, she's saying how she is now, it sounds like she might be suffering a little bit from anxiety, some sort of anxiety disorder. And there are things that if you seek, mental health professional, they can give you some coping mechanisms about how to calm down. As she was sharing her story, Tiz, I was thinking about a situation that happened to me as well that caused me to have, I kind of self-diagnosed as having a little bit of like PTSD. But after my dog, Coco, was murdered by the dogs next door, every time I had to then go outside and I heard those dogs, I had a physical reaction to that situation. Even now I have another dog, I've got Zeus, but if I hear them, my heart starts beating a little bit faster and I get, some form of post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, that's
it's not something that you can easily control. Like it's like your brain takes you back and your body as well to, a very traumatic event that happened.
Exactly. So whether it's the dog attack or a car accident or something, you're attacked or you're hurt just unexpectedly, you're just going along your regular day and then this happens to you. The next time you're at that spot or at that gas station or at that intersection, your brain can't help but flash back and trigger you. And these are the types of things that you would work on during a counseling session. They teach you how to redirect your thoughts and, coping mechanisms so that you can handle being out there in that spot without going through all of those physical and psychological, impacts. Like you said, your heart races and you're nervous, you flashback. Those are all key PTSD symptoms, what you're talking about.
Yeah, pretty wild. All right. So what can you do? You say moving toward complete justice. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, consult with, you got an old version of it. consult with a legal professional if you're not sure. The previous caller did mention that she did speak to her doctor about it, and sometimes the doctors brush it off because, like I said, their main concern is the physical part of your injuries. But if you're not getting anywhere with that doctor, you can always give us a call. We can refer you to people who are well versed in this area that can provide further assistance to you. We do offer free consultations. So if you're worried, you're going to get a bill, no, we're happy to guide you on the right path for free. If you're struggling and you need that assistance, we're here for you.
Mm-hmm. And tell us how people can contact you. I think you were still working on that slide, so that's
I gave you an old version, sorry.
Yeah.
So you can find us at recover.ky. That's the website. Of course, our firm is part of a larger firm called Broadhurst. We're located on Edward Street in the Starbucks building. So you can find us there. And then we have a WhatsApp number that is 924-9999. And my direct line at the office is 749-9999. So it's an easy number to remember. You can just shoot us a message and we will respond to you and get you sorted.
All right, folks. So give Recover a call. This is their area of special expertise. Anything to do with, personal injury. Now, let's kind of go through a list, because when people think of personal injury, a lot of times they only think about car accidents, and it's so much more than that. So let's talk about some of the different areas that, your services would cover.
So car accidents are huge on this island. So, we do a lot of those, but we also do injuries that happen at work. If you're in a store or a public space and there's something wrong that causes you to get injured, we handle those types of claims. We also do medical negligence claims. We're very selective of what we take on there, but those types of mistakes happen, and people need legal recourse about them. We also handle dog attacks, falls, like you name it. You get hurt, give us a call and we will give you advice as to whether there's a claim to be made. Yeah.
All right. So fantastic. Thank you so much, Tiz. 924-9999. A lot of times people are like, what's the name of that lady again that comes on the show? Her name is Tiz. Really, really easy to reach. They have this number, I think, is on WhatsApp as well. Jennifer has a question. She wants to know, how long after an accident can you file a claim? So there is something called statute of limitations. So what is the statute of limitation?
So it's 3 years in the Cayman Islands. And, I just want to point out that some people who are dealing with insurance companies on their own, I've had this happen many, many times. The insurance company does not tell you that there's a time limit on your claim. So they'll string you along. And then after the 3 years are up, they'll tell you, so sorry, we're closing our file. So please make sure that you are getting legal advice long before those 3 years are up. We don't, at our firm, we don't like to wait to the last second to file a claim in the court. We like to do it relatively soon to protect the person's limitation period, so that we don't have our situation of, these people are out of luck. And also, before signing something, also be very careful. Make sure you understand what you're reading. And if you don't, get legal advice on that too, because you could be blocking yourself from any future claims by signing a piece of paper, settling too early, and then you'll suffer later when you come to find out that the injury hasn't healed and you need surgery, or things are getting worse for you and you can't work. You're not able to return to work. So these are all part of the claims that we put forward.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much, folks. Mitzi wants to know if you do anything with landlord-tenant issues. So that's not really personal injury unless they push you down the stairs.
I personally don't handle those, but Broadhurst as a firm takes on various other types of
litigation
litigation. Yeah. So.
All right. Thanks very much, Tiz. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Sandy.
Have a fantastic weekend.
You too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. You know, Mitzi, that made me chuckle because I'm like, well, if they push you down the stairs because you didn't pay your rent on time, then it becomes a personal injury case. Until then, not so much so. Ay. What a calamity. All right. Very, very good. But, you know, slip and falls happen on people's properties, commercial properties, out by the pool, like things happen. So, yeah, if it's anything like that with the landlord, then, all right. Very, very good. So I'm here having some chat conversations sometimes that make me shake my head, honey child. Okay. All right. Okay. Mental issues, says Mitzi, because they will not pay their rent. Well, for her, again, it has to, the mental issues have to stem from the personal injury. So it's just not mental issues on its own, but that it stems from like an accident and stuff like that. Interesting, though. Stressing people out because you're not paying your rent, and then the bank is on them about what's going on with the mortgage. All right, let's switch gears. Big shout out to Olympian Jordan Crooks. He's been appointed as a sports ambassador. Yesterday, the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce had their annual parliamentarian luncheon. They've been doing it. I was trying to get how many years now, but they've been doing it since I think the PPM was in the first time, so I guess over 12 years now, and they had it at the Indigo Hotel. That was actually my first time going to the hotel, going inside at all. So I hadn't been inside the facility. So didn't get to see much, but from what I saw, looks pretty nice. Over 300 people in attendance. This luncheon happens every year, and it really gives the government an opportunity to address the public, businesses and attendance. So you have different businesses that will sponsor tables. Like everybody is there in the business world. Fidelity, all the banks, normally Scotia. Health City was, I think, one of their premium sponsors, the DART organization. Minister and Deputy Premier, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, spoke and talked about a number of different things. So in case you missed that article, it's quite a comprehensive article and some of the things that he had to say. Feel free to check our website for that. Boasting numbers, they claim they've got money in the kitty somewhere, and they've got healthy cash reserves, so they say. And so, all right. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Morning. Not bad. How are you?
I just wanted to call with something positive this morning I truly appreciate that you put on your website. The appointment of Jessica Ebanks as head of securities for SEMA.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's good that we celebrate our Caymanians and their achievements.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know this young lady, but it looks like she's really doing a lot of positive things and going places. So congrats to her.
Yes, ma'am. I'm her mother, and I'm very proud of her.
Oh, congratulations. There she is. Beautiful young lady. And yes, we had it on the morning news, and we've also got it up on the website as well. So got a new appointment there at SEMA, head of Securities Supervision Division. So she's going to be busy.
Yes, thank you again. It's always good to recognize the achievements of our Caymanian people.
Absolutely. You're most welcome. Thanks so much. Yes, thank you. So yes, Miss Jessica here, Jessica Ebanks is head of the Securities Division there at SEMA, effective November the 1st. And she has been with the organization for 11 years with the regulatory body. She started back in 2013 as an analyst, and it says that she has played a pivotal role in shaping the security supervision division since its establishment in 2017. So good for her. She's been there. She was the division's first chief analyst, and it says that she was instrumental in building the supervision team from the ground up before advancing to deputy head in 2020. And now she has been appointed as the division head. So congratulations. Where's my little applause button? Hold on now, honey child. Let's give her an applause. There we go. Wonderful. That applause button's kind of long. But kudos. And then, of course, I was just saying that Olympian Jordan Crooks is now a sports ambassador as well. So congratulations to Jordan. The Cayman Islands government has announced his appointment as the nation's first ever cabinet-approved sports ambassador. Now, that was a little bit strange to me because I thought that, boxer Charles Whitaker was actually a sports ambassador at one point. I thought McKeeva did that, but maybe it wasn't cabinet approved because McKeeva kind of did whatever he wanted. So maybe that only came from like the department. I'm not sure, but I didn't realize this was the first ever appointment, but congratulations to young Mr. Jordan Crooks. Had us all going during the Olympics for the amazing performance, making it to the finals. And, you know, as parents, when you see your children achieving things, even as adults, you're just so incredibly proud of them. So I'm so glad that Jessica's mom called in. There's a few Jessica Ebankses. When I saw her name, I'm like, wait a minute. My bank manager at CNB, her name is Jessica Ebanks too. So somebody said the previous sports persons were paid under the elite athlete program. Oh, so that wasn't from cabinet. Where was that? What was that program under? Sports ministry, probably. Somebody said Sedoni was paid $70,000 a year for several years. Oh. Interesting. Okay, let me see. Yep. All right. What else is going on? Good news wise, Polar Bear launches an annual scholarship at UCCI. So for those of you who are going to be studying in that area, they have a $2,000 annual scholarship that can cover things like tuition, fees, books, and equipment for students who enroll in UCCI's air conditioning and refrigeration courses. So check it out, folks. Nothing like a free money towards your education. Apply to as many of these opportunities as possible, really. All right. Goody. Let me just see what else we got in our headlines this morning. So remember this court case with Samantha McLaughlin, 36 years old. She was sentenced just the other day to 37 months in prison for stealing over $42,000 from her employer and multiple counts of forgery. The single mother, so unfortunate, I hope somebody's taking care of this poor child while she's in prison now, was working as an accountant and admin assistant at Stafford Flooring. And she pled guilty to stealing $42,250 between November of 2021 and March of 2022. And basically how she was doing it is she was forging checks. So she admitted to multiple counts of forgery involving the company checks. And basically how she did it, the owner was trusting, he would leave her pre-signed checks that were intended for vendor payments. And then what she was doing was writing those checks out to herself, apparently. And the owner, Mr. Randall Stafford, noticed unauthorized transactions during a routine bank account review. And in his impact statement, he said that this theft had substantially impacted his small business, affecting the company's ability to increase employee wages, amongst other things. And of course, That's $50,000 almost of unpaid bills that, he thought he was paying. So he said, which is so interesting, that if she had asked him for help, he would have tried his best to assist her. And during the investigation, McLaughlin admitted to using the funds for personal expenses. Now, you see, this is where y'all need a good slap upside your head. Stealing from people to live a big life? Come on now. Including travel, to purchase necessities for her daughter, she claims, and to visit her mother in the United States. She cited financial difficulties as a single mother with insufficient support from her child's father. Somehow that's not your employer's problem. I'm just saying. So Ms. Cheryl Richards said that the starting point of 42 months for the theft charge, which was increased due to aggravating factors, but then reduced back down to 33 months for an early guilty plea. My God. What a mess. Yeah. Very, very unfortunate. So back in May, I know we originally had reported on this. So the original amount was like $49,937.56, but she agreed to $42,250. So 13 counts of forgery for these Bank of Butterfield checks, and 1 count of uttering a forged document. So yeah, pretty unbelievable that this young lady, and I mean, such a nice looking young lady, but folks, you got to live within your means. You get yourself in a world of trouble when you are unable to live within your means. And it's nobody else's problem or business, quite frankly, that you're not able to pay your bills because you're a single mother. You see, this is where y'all need to make some adjustments to your lifestyle. As a single mother, yeah, you might not be able to jump on that plane every time you feel like it. That's life. Because your child and expenses related to your child should be coming first. However, not knowing anything about this young lady, but having heard a little bit about, seems like she's got a issue with sticky fingers, generally speaking. I must say that it was unfortunate that she found herself in this predicament, all of her own making. And, I look at a picture like this and I say, well, I don't see the struggle. I don't see where she's struggling as a single mother. Because let me be very clear here. I'm seeing an outfit that costs money. I'm seeing nails done, hair done, makeup done, everything here. I don't see the struggle because you can sacrifice all those things. Sacrifice doing your nails, sacrifice the hair, don't spend money on makeup, don't buy clothes, cut through clothes like you're going out somewhere. And you might find that you have, your budget can stretch a lot better. And when you're stealing from people and you're not buying food with it, you're not really hurting that bad, trust me. Okay. Donald, good morning. Says, proud of you, Jessica. We're so proud of you, especially here in North Side. Beautiful. Mr. Donald, thank you. Pat says, congrats to her mom. Tony, family's coming in strong, says, yes, congrats again to Jessica. Good morning to Roy. Oh, Mr. Roy, I see you found the show, honey child. You finally found that link. Call-in number, let me put it on the screen for you. 9362626 is a cell phone number. So, Gabby says, oh, for crying out loud. She actually said something else. She said, oh, FC. She not struggling because she's stealing. I'm just saying, I'm looking and I don't see the struggle. So, yeah. Enough people know her and they're like, child, please, she's not struggling. She's just a thief. Ay. All right. Let's see here. So, okay, yes. Morning, Sandy, says this person. I love your news segment. Just want to congratulate Jessica. Amazing job. She also once went into Miss Cayman, such a beautiful girl, proud of her accomplishments. Oh, thank you very much. Good morning, caller.
Caller Roy.
Mr. Roy, you finally found us, honey child.
Yes, it was like brain surgery for me.
Oh, my goodness. What a mess. What a mess. Well, now you're here.
Yeah. I was on a little bit earlier and then I had to do something and now I'm back on again.
Mm-hmm.
But this subject is near and dear to my heart about single mothers.
Yes.
I have four daughters. Three of the four are mothers themselves.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest daughter has no children.
Okay.
But my daughters, they don't really struggle financially.
Mm-hmm.
They're all college graduates. One has a master's degree, and just while being pregnant and while having little children, continue to schooling.
Yes.
One is the head of nursing at John Hopkins, trauma nursing at John Hopkins University. One is the city planner of the city of New York. I mean, they're all stellar examples, and I'm not saying that to say boo-hoo, great my daughters are, but it can be done.
Oh, of course.
And all three of them do it. One of them lives in Shanghai, China. I mean, there's no family, no nothing. She does it on her own, you know? And I myself was a young father.
Yes.
Back in my days, if you got a girl pregnant, you marry them, and that's the law.
Yeah.
And so consequently, I got married when I was 18. I was 19, supporting a family, working full-time, going to school full-time. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. But what
you
can't do is you can't steal from people. I mean, that's...
Yeah, well... You said it in not so many words, but you made your bed, you got to lay in
it. Exactly. And listen, I think that what happens a lot of times, Mr. Roy, is that, these young people want to be able to live their best single life, even when they have children, and something has to give. So when I'm looking at her,
I think it's a sense of entitlement.
Yes.
Like I should still be able to have fun.
Yeah.
No, you can't. Now you've got responsibilities.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Then another one earlier, you were talking about someone asked you what would it take to change, and you said accountability. And that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen in the United States. It's not going to happen anywhere in the world because government positions generally, I'm not saying all, are filled by nepotism. And there is so much money involved in this industry called government. It will change you. Money can change you. I mean, no matter what ideals the money will change you. And I think I might be wrong, but I think everybody has a price. And
you know what I've said. I agree with that. I think everybody does have a price. Sometimes the price isn't even money. Sometimes it's power. It's something else. But what I say people need to do is, like anything else in life, if you think about it in advance, you can know how to respond. So set your price so high that nobody can ever reach it. That's my philosophy.
But it's not just that kind of thing too. It's just along the lines of accountability. They can't be fired.
Right.
Once you get hired and work for government, you can't be fired. I have a friend who's a police officer in New York City. Sometimes when you get drunk, you lose things, like maybe you lose your car keys. Well, he loses his gun. And he's done it more than once. A loaded gun in the wrong people's hands. It's a bad thing.
So has he been fired yet?
He's never been fired.
Oh my gosh!
Because he's not. He's no longer just a regular cop. He's a detective. So he's like different. Like judges are different than lawyers, even though a judge is just a lawyer. Well, he's still just a cop, but he's a detective now. Nothing has ever happened to him. I think once he got suspended for 30 days with pay. And that's just one example. I could go on. Listen, I have a cousin who's an MLA. You know, I have a cousin on customs. I have a cousin. I'm an E-Banks. I mean, for crying out loud. You know, the stories that I hear, the things that I see, and then it's marketing and mythology. Like, I remember the one man, one vote thing. The guy who owned the Sunshine Suites at the time, Bob, I forget his name. Bob, it'll come to me. But anyway, he hired one of Obama's speechwriters to help McKeeva do this speech. And this thing that people remember the most from McKeeva's speech is "Not today, Bobo." The T-shirts were already printed because they knew that was going to be the line, and everybody was with a "Not today, Bobo" T-shirt the next day. And they don't even know why. It's
well, I mean that became, that saying "Not today, Bobo" became very, very sort of, you know, embedded in the community when I forget his name now. But the Caymanian fella stopped the robber there in Grand Harbor. And during the process of him stopping him from robbing the liquor store, he said to him, "Not today, Bobo." And that's how that went viral. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Roy. Appreciate it.
I'm glad I found you.
Yeah, for sure. This is where we're at. most
you know
weekdays.
What I do for, you know what I do for a living?
Well,
I design computer networks.
Yeah, you told me IT, but there you have it. I guess social media is a little bit different still.
I guess so.
Thank you.
Apparently.
All right,
Bye.
my dear. Thanks very much. All right, folks, 936-2626. Jim says, irresponsible New York cop. Yeah, I mean, how do you keep losing a loaded gun? But what a mess. I was going to talk about political parties today, and I know we don't have much time left in the program, but look at this. Somebody actually sent me this. Hold on one second. The PPM is trying their luck with, you know, and of course, this is to be expected, I would say. This is what all of them now are going to do. This is the ante. And of course, you know, they were saying it during the last election, is don't elect, hold on one second. Don't elect independents because, you know, they're not going to be able to get anything done. So we're going to do a vote here today on this, and they're jumping on the bandwagon now because what they want you to believe is that independence and electing independents has been an experiment in this country that has failed. So here we go. Tired of the drama? Ooh, PPM is ready with their graphic designer. Keep calm and vote PPM. Hashtag Unity Cayman 4.0. This is so funny because I want you to put your minds, let's talk about it for a little bit. Let's put your minds to what party politics has done for Cayman and whether or not you support like-minded people is what they're going to say just because. Well, what are they like-minded about is the question, right? What I find that happens, and it was funny because earlier before Tiz came on, we were talking about party politics. I was actually trying to call Kurt Tibbetts. He was answering the phone. And remember, I was saying to you, we were in it. We believed in it. But you know how the PPM got started? It was a direct response to the UDP. So there was no common ground of like this. These are the ideological differences that we stand for. Back in those days when PPM got started, it was, we just want to be anti-UDP. So anything that they stand for, and at the time we saw them as being the corrupt party led by Cayman's, and I'll put in quotations, most corrupt politician, McKeeva Bush, giving away the mass status grants. And we're like, no, we don't want a party that's going to do that to our country. that has no regard for Cayman status, has no regard for what we say is our birthright, and you shouldn't just give it away willy-nilly by cabinet dispensation, that there should be a proper process where people apply, they're vetted, they have police records that are checked and all this kind of stuff, because they were giving it out to everybody. Some people have been here just 6 months. The barber, the this, the that, the girlfriend of so-and-so who, hardly is ever here was getting status. And it was like, how is this possible? So the PPM was formed as a result of the UDP's existence. Now, the PPM has had better organizational components, longer longevity than any other party in the history of the Cayman Islands. The UDP had a youth arm. They had all these things going for them. And eventually they fell apart. But it goes back to exactly what I was saying yesterday. The reason why, these systems don't work, sometimes it isn't always the system itself. Like, you need to have structure, you need to have organization within the system, but you also need to have leadership that is can be held accountable, and leadership that is also what's the word that I'm looking for? That is also, honest, leadership that has integrity. All of these things matter. And in lieu of those things in a leader, even the best systems in the world don't work. So going back to the question of, okay, let's adjust how do we fix the system? Kevon asked this question. How do we fix the system? Oh, we need a better constitution. We need the right to fire these guys and recall and all this kind of stuff. Let's put some perimeters in place. Term limits means that they're not going to become 40 years so entrenched in the system that we can never get rid of them. But y'all can get rid of them, You do have the option every 4 years of firing somebody. And yet, Caymanians refuse to do that. So what does that really tell you about us and who we are and what we stand for? Now, I was thinking about this last night as a former PPM member, and I'm trying to, in my head, remember all of the different things. If y'all think that PPM is the answer, I want you to think about this. How many PPM members and how many infights have they had where people resigned, people left, and so on? Okay, Arden, McLean. Arden and see, the difference is the PPM members, the membership, they don't talk about what's happening in the party. So they hold it close to their chest. They hold it tight. But I would say that they are maybe not as dysfunctional as the UDP, because again, comes down to leadership, but they have their degree of dysfunctionality as well. So do you guys know what happened with Arden and why he left the PPM after being in there for so many years? He left the PPM because Alden pulled a cutthroat move on Arden to become the next leader of the PPM. See, y'all don't even know this. So there is a process, and people like Denny, Billy, the people in the PPM who want to be honest, there is a process about how the leader is elected. The leader is not supposed to be, even what they're doing now. Let me tell y'all something. Even what they are doing now in relation to electing Joey as leader of the opposition and saying that he is the leader of the PPM come January, that's completely against their constitution. How can they say that? Oh, because nobody is going to challenge him at the upcoming convention? How do they know that? That's because the system is rigged. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination, but I know that when they have their what do they call it? Their party caucus or convention or whatever, next year, anybody could stand up and be nominated to be party leader. But you see, they have already decided amongst their elite group within the PPM that designated person is going to be, because they decided it from 4 years ago, that designated person is going to be Joey Hugh. How do you do that if the body, the membership body, has not even voted on this? Right? Somebody else who's a PPM member could come up and get their name nominated and be in the run-ins. And this is exactly what happened between Arden and Alden. But Alden went a step further and that he went to the executive members, and you're talking about people like the Paradoux and this one, that one. They've been there from day one, right? Supporting the PPM machinery. And he went to these people and said, okay, we have a vote coming up of who's going to be the next party leader. And he was basically, telling them not to vote for Arden and to vote for him and put him in as party leader. Arden got wind of what was happening and said, wait a minute, this is not how the process is supposed to work. So Arden resigned from the party and left. Does that sound like the type of people who, again, are going to follow the rules of the country's constitution order? Who are going to follow the rules of good governance necessarily? Now, they might be better than some, but they themselves have a very questionable track record. Okay? Who else has left the party? Alva Saku. How many times did Alva leave PPM and rejoin PPM? He ran with them the last time. I heard Alva is running again. I need to message him. But he ran with them the last time as an independent running with them. But he's left, resigned several times. Mr. Eden, Anthony Eden. Yes, Mr. Anthony Eden. He was a PPM member. He left and resigned. Julie wanted to leave and resign when the whole LGBTQ thing came up, but she's still a PPM member. But she broke protocol, as talk about collective responsibility. She broke protocol and went out and did a whole prayer session, sent around a voice note. Oh, she doesn't agree with this. And her and John were all up in their feelings and blah, blah, blah. Kenneth Bryan was a PPM member. Julie has been a member of every single political alliance and party in this country. That's why people call her Juju. Because Juju is short for not Juju as in Juliana O'Connor Conley. It's short for Judas and Juju combined and Juliana combined. So let me see. Hold on. I'm going to use one of my AI tools this morning now to tell me. I'm going to ask it the following question. Hold on. Honey child, this AI thing is legit. Give me a list of all political parties and alliances in the history of the Cayman Islands. Let's see how many it comes up with. And if it leaves out any, you guys can let me know. All right. So give me a list of all political parties and alliances in the Cayman Islands history. Let's see what it's going to come up with. It says, here's a comprehensive list. This stuff is fast, honey child. Hold on. Answers coming. Here we go. Kaboom. Yes, sir. Now, I'm going to show you guys this. And if it's missing anything, then by all means, let me know. So when people say to you now that independents don't work and it's a party system, I want to say that most of what we've had in Cayman's history has been loosely formed alliances of independents. The party system has not taken foot in this country. So you're going to have people come to you and say, oh, vote for us as a party because we got all the answers. And I'm going to say, so has all these other 12 groups throughout the years. So again, if you've been involved in politics forever, do let me know. But we have the National Democratic Party, NDP, founded in 1961. We have the Christian Democratic Party, and I've even heard of that one, CDP, formed in 1962. So they were the early forerunners. We have political alliances that were informal. The Unity Party, active in the 1970s and 1980s. They had the Dignity Team, active in the 1970s and 1980s. The National Team was formed in 1992. Modern political parties, we have the Progressive Democratic Party. Really? Formed in 1991. The Democratic Alliance emerged in 1996. Team Cayman emerged in 1996. The United Democratic Party, established in 2001, later renamed to the Cayman Democratic Party. I even forgot until recently that Makiva had tried to reboot and rename that. So that's CDP. Radio listeners, switch over to social media if you want to continue listening. Have a wonderful weekend otherwise. So yeah, then we've got the United Democratic Party, right? I said that one. People's Progressive Movement, established in 2002. I think really it was more 2003, but anyway. Cayman Islands People's Party, founded more recently Now, that was the one with Ezard Miller, I think, right? Hold on one second. Let me have a look at my little CMR website here and tell you where that one is coming from. And that was a party that was set up, and they said, that they were going to be doing things differently. We have a Cayman Vanguard party. When were they? Lord Jesus. That was 1958 by William Warren Connolly? Really? Oh, my Lord. Good morning, caller.
Good morning again.
Mm-hmm.
What you call it? Party politics. It doesn't matter what kind of politics it is, because it's the same person that's going to party. That's independent. It, to me, depends on that individual and so many different personalities. So I think it's very important that you have to get to somebody that wants the same things and they're honest and they can take criticism, they can take no and yes, because the problem is if you do that and you have somebody controlling, like you say the PPM, you have someone that's controlling you and they're telling you everything, you're going to be sitting at the table, but you're not happy. Yeah. And that makes you sometimes jump the ship like they have done because they're not happy. Because if you're happy at home, you don't divorce your husband, or unless you live in there. No, not usually, unless you're in there and you're doing it for the children, like how some of them is in the party and doing it for what? To say, okay, they're going to keep in politics. Because I have had those that came to me to vote for them with the same party. And I said to the person, I don't believe in that person, but I will vote for you. And they said, you need to guess for. I said, no, I don't need to do that. I'm going to give you the one that I think I want to put in. Which is sort of true. But the problem is, are you going to be the one that's leading them? Are you the one that give them the direction? Are you the one that tell them what? Because that's what's going on right now, So when you see sometimes we call this one a fool, they want to stay in the ball or on the ball field, and they know sometimes, but because they feel they can't do it on their own, and they know if they say no, they're booted out. And so forth. It's not supposed to be about that.
Yes.
Even if you go into a party, it's supposed to be about your island, your people, your country, respect, morals. So if someone come and be in a party and they say, listen, I don't see where this should be here. And I would have to say, why don't you see? Because I'm not seeing that. And that's the way it should be, that we all sit at the table and we come to the conclusion, or we come to the agreement why we shouldn't do this or why we should. That means that person feels valid. Because if you don't feel validated in something, sometimes, you're going to do just what everybody's saying. You look like a fool because you're trying to please Tom, you're trying to please Dick, you're trying to please Harry, and you're all over the place. And you're getting the bad name. But the truth is, it's not even you calling the shots. It's not you doing this stuff. But it's you that get in the bad name, because people are going to see you. They're going to hear your voice. They're going to see the paper that you sign off on, when in truth, you might not even have been for that. So for party politics, it's hard with any politics. I don't think there's anywhere that you could turn the politics, because guess what? This one gonna want to be premier. This one gonna want to be minister. This one gonna want to be. So these things should be discussed before, and it should be discussed based on experience. Okay, I own a business. I was accountant. I can do finance, and we sit down and one say, well, I was community worker. I did this, and you sit down and see people's strongholds, their strength, where they are, and this will make the party a better party, because we're ready to choose who's going to do this if we get in, because I have the capability and the experience in this.
But what the issue that with that is, Miss Joyce Ann, let's be very, very clear now. The chances of any singular party getting everybody in that they're running is slim to none. So
yes.
Realistically, they may get 25% and then they have to work with other people. And so their plan of who's going to get what and who's going to do what and who's qualified to do what goes out the window.
Oh yeah, it does. But at least you got to start with a foundation, right? In case we do. And then the other thing is that when they get in, and it's the same thing then. People's talking about this independent, but it go back to the same thing, because what you're saying, it comes back every time to the same thing. Individuals putting their country first, their islands first. That's what it comes back to.
And that's why you have to choose principled individuals. But let me say this.
Exactly.
What happens in the world of politics is, I don't know how it happens, but it happens. Sometimes it seems like once people get in there, even they may have the best intentions and you think they're going to be,
it's true.
They change.
True.
Right?
It's true.
So they're not as principled as you thought. How many times have we seen a person you thought, oh yeah, this person I thought demonstrated being a principled person in their life. They get in there, they get a little bit of money, they get a little power, then they're a different person.
That's what it go back. That's what it go back
to. And that's why there's a saying that power corrupts, and the absolute power corrupts absolutely.
It's true. Well, that's what it go back to. You got to take a strong individual, right? It's like, I have known this particular person, and we have been cool all of my life because, Leo Club and this and that. So when they come to me with this person, I said, I know this person and heard about this person from school, and it's not a very good person. And I can't put my vote there. So it comes back down again a lot to us too, because we're a small community, and we know most of them that are running too. And I'm sure that some of them knows their background. If you hear that man is beating his wife, what you put him in there for? You understand me? So we know a lot of these things.
That is true.
And I think too, as the voters, we need to get these things corrected, even if it's my brother, if it's my sister, because at the end of the day, they cannot give me all I need. And at the end of the day, I'm selling my soul.
Let me tell you something, though. Unfortunately, Caymanians, and it's interesting, are willing to overlook obvious faults in a person, like character faults, right? And let's be honest, none of us are flawless. We've all done stuff. God knows that we're like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Why did I do this? Whatever, right? But the inability for people to make any meaningful change, because what ends up happening is a lot of people change, and I put that in quotations, for the sake of getting a vote. So all of a sudden they're going to church and they're pretending to be a Christian, or they're pretending to be in the church, but that's not a genuine representation of who they are. And when you really look at their character and what it is that they're up to and who they represent, and even the company that they keep, you realize that these people are not worthy of elected office. But we, the voters, this is why I was saying yesterday, we need to take accountability. We continually put them in public office. So why are we doing it?
And then you're talking about it and cussing them. And then you went to the polls. If I don't believe, I don't care who it is. Could be as I said, my brother, my mama, my whatever, and I don't believe in somebody. At the end of the day, I'm responsible for me. I'm responsible for what I did.
Yes.
So therefore, I am going to make sure that I'm comfortable. If they fail, they fail. But at least I put it, not because I was led to, or for financial gains or anything. And we need to get to that place. We need to get to the place that if somebody even mad at us, we still know what is right, what is wrong, and we do it. But a lot of times we sacrifice ourselves because we know this one, and they're going to be mad at me. I'm behind Sabrina because I didn't know that woman. I lived in a complex with her, and I didn't even know. She said, I just come in. There goes my truck. They used to laugh. I'm chewing my gum, and I go on through the door. And that's true. So she said, I said, I don't know you. But it wasn't her that even convinced. I started. My mom was the first person. She said, give her a vote. I said, me? How are you going to tell me to give somebody a vote? That's not your vote. That's my vote. I need to know who I'm voting for. So after that, I had other friends that approached me in regards to her. And I said, okay, tell me about her. I started to find out on my own because my vote is very precious to me. And I went and people started to tell me how she's been doing community work and this is for years and it's them encourage her to run and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, she sounds promising. And I said, I want more women anyway. So let me look on her. And I started to survey and people came and they said, well, what for this one? I said, what did? And when I saw that person behavior, I knew that person. I was like, I don't think that's a good representative for me anyway. But you can go that way because that's your vote. I can't tell you. So don't tell me where to put my vote. When she came back, I said, I need to talk to you personally before I give you my vote. And I had the one-on-one and asked, what are you going to do for the country? What you think you could do that makes it different and whatever. She said it to me and I said, well, that sounds good. But are you going to get corrupt in it? Blah, 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 blah. No, not Joyce, blah, blah, blah. I have everything. I have my business. I'm doing it for my island. I don't have to and whatever. So I said, well, this is sounding good. So I did my homework and I based my votes on my homework. If I fail, well, okay, at least I did some homework. You understand me? Not because I know Mr. Whatever. Joyce, we long time. I'm not voting for you. Yeah. You ain't the kind that I want to. And I tell them to their face. It's about 3 of them that I told straight to their face. I'm not voting for you. You're my friend, but I don't think you're a politician. I don't think you're a good politician or would be a good politician knowing who you are. Right? And this is where we have to get. And if they like you, they like you. But at the end of the day, you must remember that we ain't got nowhere else going. The sea that got us right. So we're a little island and we're going nowhere.
You know what I realized, Miss Joyce, and not to cut you, but you know what I realized is missing from this list? C for C. They were political alliance as well.
Yeah,
all right, well, leave me there. We're still going through the list.
Yes, baby.
If you can think of any others. So I see Cayman Vanguard Party, which I didn't even know anything about. That was 1958 by William Warren Conley and others. Yeah, this is going history. Yeah, shall we get a little history lesson? We have the National Democratic Party. That was 1962 with Ormond Panton, OBE, and his chief ally, William Warren Conley of East End. Obviously, this is before I was even born, honey child.
Yes.
And then we have the Cayman Democratic Party, which obviously formerly known as the UDP. All right. Thank you, Miss Joyce Ann. Appreciate it.
All right, sweetie. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So lots of alliances. And I think this tool has even forgotten some of the ones like C for C, which, let me tell it to do a broader search and include alliances like C. I think it was C for C, right? So, they were political alliance thing as well. That's how Roy McTaggart got his start, was C for C. So a long list of so-called parties and alliances. And it has always been a situation where, okay, so now they've included C for C in it. So now it's gone to a list of 13, right? But listen to me very, very closely. If this is the case, this means that for as long as Cayman has been, Caymanians have really been, since we separated from Jamaica, doing your own thing politically. We've always had political parties and alliances. They fall apart and rejoin because it's a matter of convenience is what it comes down to. And we have also always had, and will continue to have, individuals. Now, some people seem to erroneously think that we only have individuals now because of one man, one vote. And that simply isn't true. History, you can't undo history and you can't undo facts. Go back and have a look at what history was showing us and how these organizations came together. And I challenge any one person to demonstrate to me or to tell me, how is it that any of these parties, number one, had any significant longevity, and which of them had any degree of ideological position that you could actually identify with? That's my question for you. Okay? Which of these had an ideological, principled position that you could say, yes, this is what the party stood for, and this is what the party was about. No, it's all about personalities for Caymanians. It's all about, okay, I oppose this one, or I like this one, or I don't like this one, and so I'm going to be part of the NDP or the UDP or whatever, right? So those of you, you know who you were back in the day, you were UDP members. And you were UDP members because you were a McKeever fan. You were Team McKeever, right? So, my apologies. Having some nice, delicious fruit for breakfast. You were Team McKeever, but what was it that the United Democratic Party stood for that you believed was so, principled? Were they a conservative party? Were they a liberal party? Did they believe in fiscal, restraint? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing that you guys can tell me about these parties that one would say, well, this is what set them aside from anybody else. So the same thing is going to happen, and it's going to continue to happen. We're going to have parties that come together. There's some now that you're going to be hearing coming out here shortly, and you can ask all of them, what makes you different? Well, we don't want to be Julie. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine, because we don't really want anybody else trying to be her. God knows. A changing of the guard. Okay, but what's your ideology behind the party? They're not going to be able to tell you, because none of it will be driven. Can we get a group of people who are going to agree that the environment is one of the key and principal things in this country? No, they all have their individual positions and what they want, and it's always a mixed bag of everything. So somebody says here, I think that was Mr. Tony, says, laughing out loud, I'm curious though, Sandy, what is this Cayman 4.0? Have they spoken about it? No. Mr. Tony, listen to me carefully. One thing that the PPM does, and they do well, so you give people credit when they do something well, is they play and they have a team of advisors. They used to bring them in from the Eastern Caribbean. They brought in professionals, right? So when you heard, like Kathy said the other day, there are people who are more organized than us. I think what she meant was political parties, because of course now this is the direction that people are going to try to move in, saying, hey, the independence thing, not really working. It's always been the independence thing. So let's do parties. So there are Caribbean countries that have the party system much more enshrined than we do. I agree with that. It's much more enshrined, but does it work better on behalf of the people of the Cayman Islands or whatever country they're in, St. Kitts, Bermuda, whoever these parties are? Does it work better for them? Even Jamaica. Does having a party system work better for you? I think parties divide people along some of the most ridiculous lines that I've ever seen. For example, when we were deciding, the progressives, what did we want to be? Well, if we're picking colors and we're picking a logo, we can't pick anything close to the UDP. So we're going to be Team Red because they're green and blue. You see how stupid it starts to get? And then all of a sudden, even my mother-in-law, she just left here the other day and she jokingly said, oh, you gave me a suitcase or a bag that is, I can't remember which one. I can't remember what their colors are, but say it's red. I'm Team Red. People see me coming through the airport. They're going to think I support this political team. I'm like, to me, that is so stupid. But that is how it is entrenched in these countries that we claim are more organized than us. Being politically more organized, where during election season, you can't even wear a particular color for fear of somebody gunning you down and shooting you in the friggin' streets. That's not organized to me. And that's not where I want this country to go. That's not what party politics should be about. So it opens up Pandora's box in a really, really big way about what sort of structure. And I understand the arguments up to a point that if you have a group of people that come together in an organized way, and you can agree before an election of how it's going to work if they get the control. And that is always a big if. Because look at the progressives right now. They didn't get control of the last government. They were fit to be tied and were fighting the last 4 years to try and take it back from the independents, right? Julie has always been a PPM member. She's never resigned from the party. Okay? So if they only get 25% of the vote, Dan Scott's team gets 25% of the vote, independents get 25% of the vote, what do you think happens on May the 1st after election? Is there April? April's 30 days, right? So May the 1st, after the election happens, what do you think is going to happen? May the 1st, yeah. It's a Thursday, by the way. They're all going to go back and they're going to start breaking off into groups. PPM going to be calling people to their headquarters, meeting in secret locations, meeting at Alden's, house, and this one meeting in the bushes, and this one meeting over here, meeting over turtle stew dinner again. And they're going to try to pull it back together and form a government. Some of these so-called parties are not even running a full slate. So that's even fewer people that would be getting elected to their office. So somebody explained the 4.0. They said Cayman 4.0 is Joey. Joey's a new leader, and the fourth leader taking them through change. Fourth leader, hence the 4.0. Oh, okay. I was going to say, and I didn't complete my thought, that they're kind of good, decent with the whole marketing thing, right? So they do a lot of videos, and it's funny that Denny said they wanted to do their own talk show. Well, they tried that this last time with Austin, and that didn't really work out for them. That didn't last very long, so I mean, they try different things. Some things work, some things don't work, they fail at, and they just keep going, right? But I mean, they're consistent. And the thing with them, which can be a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, it's certainly a double-edged sword, is that what you have happening is that people actually fall in place, right? So people are followers in the PPM, and that's how you stay. That's why Arden and Alden couldn't make it, because they were both strong personalities. They were both leaders, I guess, in their own right. So if you have a dissenting opinion, a party is not going to work for you, because in party systems, there's little room for your opinion. There's little room for you to be an independent thinker. And so what does this mean? Let's look at the makeup of the leadership of the PPM. Where the heck is Moses Kirkernel? No, sir. Can't hear nothing about Moses, boy. He's disappeared. To go from minister to being like completely incognito, I don't know. Anyway, there he is. Still a PPM member. David Wright, Georgetown West. You never did hear anything from him. I mean, he has worked the least out of most MPs that I've ever seen, but still a representative of the people. Barbara does a bit more at the constituency level. Joey is now leader. She's deputy leader. Mr. Roy is going to be out. So ahead of the last election, there were tensions in the party because Joey wanted to be 3.0 and not 4.0. So he was like, okay, it's my turn at the leadership. Tara Rivers, she was a PPM member, probably still is. And she's like, I want to be premier. Next go round, it's my turn at the leadership. Alden stepped in. The big dog, Kurt Tibbett, stepped in. And he said, all right, y'all, calm down. Roll it back a little bit. Back it up. Joey, you got to wait your turn. You're still young and fresh and whatever. I don't know how old Joey is, but younger than Mr. McTaggart. They said, give Mr. McTaggart one term. That's all he wants is one term as premier. Go down in the history books. And then you're up next. Well, the problem is, as we well know, the PPM did not get enough votes with even the so-called alliances that they were trying to work with. In the end, just didn't pan out for them. Okay? So they didn't take the government, and they were sitting on the back bench. So unfortunately for Mr. McTaggart, the most he got was in the history books is that he was leader of the opposition. But the agreement was there. And you know what? Like I said, they follow. Somebody says, this is what we're going to do. And they follow. So Mr. Taggart isn't going to challenge Joey. He's like, okay, I'm done. Go ahead, Joey. You're up next. And that is simply how it works. Poor Barbara going around telling people that she was not going to run in this election now. She was done. Well, I've said it before, and again, no disrespect to Barbara, but she can't be done until Alden tells her she's done. Mm-hmm. Understand what I'm saying? He runs her ship. Oh my gosh. Choking on my own words there. And my little piece of strawberry. Lord Jesus. There's a boat called Lady Barbara. After he became Sir Alden, she became Lady Barbara. Named the boat Lady Barbara. This is when y'all need to be messaging me and tell me, Sandy, stuff that fruit in your face and try and hush. Because if you say one more word, they got to be vexed with you again. Anyway. Yes, sir. Lord Jesus. Darlene says our premiership is like waiting in line for turn at the whorehouse. Oh my God. You did not just say that. Darlene, I can't with you, try and behave. I believe Uncle Joey is older than you, Auntie Sandy. He might be. I have no idea. I don't know how old Joey is, to be honest. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you? Since you're eating, and I don't want to disturb your food because when I'm eating, nobody should be disturbing my food. I'll take over from you.
Child, my belly started to hurt. I need a little something in my stomach. Yes, sir.
This guy was having the first brain transplant. So the doctor told him, he says, your insurance is not going to help you here.
Uh-huh.
So, but you have three choices. You have an engineer brain, which is $300 an ounce, a scientist brains for $500 an ounce, and a politician's brains for $1,000 an ounce. The guy says, well, why is it that the politicians are so more expensive? He says, do you realize how long it would take to get an ounce of brains from a politician?
What a mess. Thank you.
Keep on going.
Okay, darling. Thank you.
All right.
All right. So somebody said Joey's about 55 or 56 years old. Someone said, please give Darlene a kaboom. Miss Pat says, please don't be fooled by sound bites, logos, colors, empty promises, food, and bribes. Vote not for sale. Tony says Moses will soon be back with some serious stones. I bet we will soon hear from him because it's election time again. Like, I don't even know who's running against him, but my God, somebody with a pulse. All right, Live Happy says the issue with the Cayman Islands is not that everyone, from expatriates to developers and political groups, wants their own vision for the Cayman to be implemented, and this is fragmenting our community. Interesting. Good morning, caller.
Blessed morning, Alexander.
Morning, dear. How are you? Happy Friday.
I'm fine. Happy Friday. Yes. Good weather too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So nobody not get no turtles due for your Pirates Heritage Day.
I don't know which Heritage Day is today. This has been the most exciting, non-exciting, I don't know what the right word is, Pirates Week ever. I don't even know what day it is in terms of the district days. Whose district day is today?
Yes. Well, they were yesterday, as far as I know. Woke me out my sleep. I didn't know they were going on.
Oh, Lord. What a mess.
But let me say this to the public, Mormon Airport. Y'all need to get out and vote, register and vote.
Absolutely.
Young people, everybody get up. It is time for a change because they creeping on our nose.
But the question is, what is the change going to be? And who is the change going to be? Who's coming forward? I mean, everybody's so quiet.
Nobody don't want to step forward. Everybody quiet. They're not running around giving out no cards and knocking down your windows and doors. All no.
They claim that they're scared of CMR. That was someone told me that they're scared of me. I'm like, what? I'm not doing nothing.
What are they gonna do? Of course they're scared of you. Call no, they're not reached on the talk show yet.
They're gonna start next month.
That's right, next month.
Yes, ma'am.
What Miss Darlene said, whorehouse, I go down west. Big her up again. Give
another kaboom.
Yeah,
thank you, my dear.
All right, you take care and have a blessed one.
You too. Bye-bye. Shaka Zulu says, take a lesson from the U.S. party system, Keyman. It's BS. Learn to be independent thinkers instead of being followers, then find your collective compatibility. So I think that's what we've been doing. I think that's what we've been doing all this time, honey child. Collective something, but then not too collective. It's a hot mess. I think where you need to start is by finding the right individuals to begin with. Because the right individuals will be minded to work with anybody almost for the betterment of country. Okay? Now, why I say anybody almost is because when you're working with people like McKeeva Bush, Julianne O'Connor Conley, I think at this point it is fair to say it's not going to be for the betterment of country. So on a matter of principle, you've got to recognize that one has a 30-year history of doing nothing and now wants to build a $100 million brat school to have a legacy to leave behind after 30 years. Dismal failure in education and everything else. The next one, Lord Jesus, we don't know where to begin with him. We've already done an entire show on him. 40-year dismal history. So, I think that a lot of these people who are formulating governments, I know sometimes it comes down to that one person, and that's what happened last time with McKeeva Bush, is they feel almost like they don't have a choice. Jay Ebanks brought McKeeva Bush to the table. It wasn't that, what's his name, Mr. Wayne Panton, went out and found McKeeva Bush. Jay brought him to the table and said he can help us solidify the government. And I guess, despite his hashtag she is supported movement, Wayne Panton felt the pressure to bring Mr. Bush in and tried to contain him, tried to put him in a little box. But there's some people who it is impossible to contain them. And when I say it's impossible to contain them, and you see what a liability they are, you've got to really, really, really think carefully about what that will mean for any grouping that they're a part of. McKeeva Bush can never be contained. That man does not have, my apologies, that man does not have anything called self-control. And unfortunately, the ways in which that is demonstrated is when it comes to women and alcohol. So you gotta pick sometimes your devils very, very carefully that you decide to work with. Good morning, Mr. Joey Woods. He's in the house, says, the independent thing does not work. Everyone has their own agenda, and there's no cohesive or common agenda. With parties, you know who is who and what their manifesto is up front. This is a much better chance of getting a stable government with parties. But Joey, I'm asking you and I'm challenging you this morning to show me where that is actually the case. All you had with the PPM is, like I said, the leadership making these decisions. Any dissenting voices got out. Okay? Kenneth, you're a dissenting voice, you're out. Alva, you're a dissenting voice, you're out. Andrew Eden, you're a dissenting voice, you're out. Who else? I'm sure there's more that I'm not thinking of. Well, they made the arrangements for, what's her name, Tara Rivers to get her a nice cushy job last time. So if you're not a follower, even take for example, when the whole situation twice during the PPM thing with McKeeva Bush, one with the video in the casino and the woman said he touched her inappropriately on the behind, and then the assault situation happened. And I said, why is it that all the women, including Juliana O'Connor Conley, Barbara Conley, who else was in there at the time? There's another woman, I feel like. There's at least one more. Tara Rivers, I think. Was she there then? I think so. Why was it that none of them spoke out as a woman about this assault? They couldn't. So when you say to me that, the benefit of the party is that we know what the party stands for and we know what their agenda is, do we really? What we have are people who are going to toe the line and follow in line no matter what. Is that in the best interest of the voters? Barbara Conley has said on numerous occasions, she does not want to run. She does not want to be involved in politics anymore. And yet it seems like she doesn't have a choice because the leadership of the PPM, the men, are forcing her to run. The party needs you. You need to do this for the party. Listen, come on now. We actually have people who don't even want to be there, and they're there because the party says you have to be there? Does that even make any sense? I'm going to give y'all a story. When Barbara worked for, you guys might remember this, and this is where a lot of people seem to forget our history, and we need to go back in time. When Barbara worked for Kurt Tibbetts, remember when he was, I think he wouldn't have been premier, I think would have been leader of, did he ever hold the title of actual premier? Or was it just leader of government business? I can't remember when we started using the term premier, but anyway, she was working in his office as his political assistant, okay? Then the PPM got voted out. Y'all remember that? Barbara didn't have a job. And she couldn't find a job for a really, really long time. And I remember having a conversation with Barbara. I said to her at the time, I said, Barbara, send me your resume. I know a guy over at this CML recruitment. I'm going to send him your resume and say, hey, have a look at Barbara. She has corporate experience, blah, blah, blah. She said, Sandy, I will never do this again. I'm never going to put myself in this position politically where I get in, to a political position. And then when you don't get in, you don't have a job. Nobody wants to hire you. You can't be touched, yada, yada, yada. It's politically explosive. And I said, I hear you. I hear you. Anyway, she got the job. The good news is she got the job. And by the way, that's a job that she's kept all this time that she's been an MP because her greatest fear is not getting voted back in and not having a job. I don't know if she still has it up to this day, but up to last year when we were talking about it or earlier in the year, she was still employed with them. You can imagine? Y'all take that. She's held on to that job at that corporate company. And I don't know how you hold on to a job and be a full-time MP, but anyway. So the first time she ran, there were other people in her inner circle, her close friends who wanted to run. They were like, oh, you and I will run together because they make these little, I don't know, friendship decisions, whatever. Yeah. If I ever decide to run, you and I can run together. I'll tell you, blah, blah, blah. She told them she wasn't going to run. Nomination day, when they see Barbara show up being nominated by so-and-so in the PPM, they were like, Barbara said she wasn't running? She just told me last night she wasn't running. So let me explain to you what happens. Barbara does not have the ability to say no to anybody in the leadership of the PPM. Do you think, Joey, that is in the best interest of the people of the Cayman Islands? Need I remind you what happened at what's the name of it there? South Sound, Smith Barcadier, Smith Barcadier, right? Where she supposedly, and it wasn't her idea, but they were pushing her to do it. Same thing that this group is saying, right? Somebody else comes up with the idea. Somebody else comes up with the position paper, and then they push you forward to do it, and you have to follow and do what they say because you're part of a party. So the downside of being part of a party is not only do you have collective responsibility if you're a cabinet member, but even for party members like Joey, not like Joey, like Barbara and David, who are not in cabinet, they still have to toe the line. Although there is no collective responsibility forcing them to do so, they now have the collective responsibility of the party, why they can't break from the party, even if they have a personal, totally different position. In order to stick and stay in the party, they have to toe the line. So hold on. Let's think about this. Right? So she doesn't want to run, and she runs because Alden and Kurt Tibbetts come to her and say, Barbara, you're going to run. Kurt is going to go out there and campaign for you. He's still strong in Georgetown, and he is going to ensure that you get in. So that's how this is going to pan out. Now, this election cycle, she's been going around telling people that she's done. She's not going to run. The other day, they just made her deputy leader of the PPM. You know what that means? They've already told her, Barbara, you're not done. You're going to run. That should be a very, in my mind, personal decision. Nobody should be telling you that you have to run for political office or that you have to accept this position as deputy leader of the opposition. So supposedly she's telling her inner circle, well, the party pressuring her because they're saying that they don't have anybody else to give deputy leader to. Because David looked like he's finally done. Moses don't want to work. Roy McTaggart retiring or whatever. He don't want it. And so she's the only person standing in the PPM that can get it done. So is that what's in the best interest of the country? Not just cabinet that's going to stick together at whatever cost, but a party who's going to have no dissenting voice. Nobody's saying, wait a minute, maybe this really isn't in the best interest of the people of this country. Let's rethink this. Let's have a look at our position. Who else has left the PPM? Wayne Panton, Ozzy, Osborne Bodden, Heather Bodden. They were all PPM members. And I'm sure there's a much longer list of people that I'm not even thinking of. So you've had all these political parties and all these independents shaking and moving all over the place. C for C. Some of the same players right now that are coming back were part of the Coalition for Cayman. I thought the first C stood for something else, but there you go. Coalition for Cayman. That allowed people politically to get started, like if my memory serves me correctly, Roy McTaggart, Austin Harris. Who else was in C for C? Was Winston in C for C? Let me see if this AI tool can tell me. Who were the key players in Coalition for Cayman? Let's see what it comes up with. Searching, reading. Now it's giving me the answer. Based on the research provided, I can offer some information about the key players for Coalition for Cayman. Political grouping formed to run in the 2013 general election in the Cayman Islands. While they claim not to be a political party, they functioned as a political alliance. The key players were successful in their races as part of C for C with Tara Rivers. Oh, she was C for C? You see? I had even forgotten about her being C for C. I didn't think I knew that. She was elected as a member of the Legislative Assembly for West Bay South. Rivers later became the Minister of Financial Services and Home Affairs. Roy McTaggart, he was successful in the 2013 election as part of the Coalition for Cayman, later became the Minister for Finance. And then we had Winston Connolly, and he was elected as part of the C for C in the 2013 election. Look at the answer that it gave me. You guys are going to chuckle at this here as well. And it just demonstrates to you, I don't care what y'all want to say about party politics. Party politics is simply not enshrined in the Cayman Islands psyche. So it's never, ever going to go far. Look at, even my AI tool got it figured out. See what it says here? It's important to note that the Coalition for Cayman was short-lived. The group dissolved after the 2013 election. Now, let me also tell you how incredibly interesting it is with people like Roy McTaggart. Remember when Roy McTaggart, I'm going to see if I have the video clip here, when he got up in his soapbox and said that party politics is not something that he fundamentally agreed with. Let me see if I can find that video. It's an epic moment. Lord, let me see if anybody in my CMS team can help me out here. I know I've played it before, but he made a very impassioned statement about why he doesn't believe in party politics. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Doesn't believe. Man, I had this clip somewhere. All right. So back in 2021, we did an editorial here on CMR, and the video is actually embedded in that. Yes, praise the Lord for CMR. Here it is. And it's entitled Editorial, Progressives Leadership Lacks Behavioral Integrity. Wow, I wrote that? Oh, honey child. I do not even remember. Thank God for the internet. Hold on. Let's pull it in. So this is what I said back in 2021. Lord Jesus. Archives. Headline, editorial, Progressives Leadership Lacks Behavioral Integrity. Well, let's see what I meant by that. This is like reading something new. Roy McTaggart was quoted in February 2013 as a C4C member. Everybody can see this? Let me increase the size just a little bit here. All right. He said, it's the party system. It forces people. Actually, hold on one second. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to open it up in Firefox because the other one is what I'm using at the moment. Okay. Yeah, okay. So he says it's the party system. It forces people and politicians to a certain mindset or a certain position that might not necessarily be in the best interest of the country. This was Roy McTaggart as a C4C member, because remember at the time, C4C was saying, oh, we're not a political party. We're a group of people. Whatever the heck that's supposed to mean. Only baby Jesus can help you interpret that. Or maybe John John, since he's very good at donkey, donkey parables, he might be able to help out. I'm not too sure. Then we have this video. Let me download the video. Hold on, let me actually download it because I want to upload it in the screen here. And we need to have a look at what Mr. McTaggart said. Meanwhile, while that's downloading, this editorial written in 2021 said the Progressives leader, Roy McTaggart, continues to toe the line, the official party line, sharing this morning that he would not be joining forces with disgraced West Bay MP McKeeva Bush after they dissolved Parliament and called an early election to avoid a vote of no confidence against the former Speaker of the House. And of course, that was funny because, he did that after them holding rank with McKeeva throughout the entire assault situation. Many are in disbelief and simply do not trust the Progressives to do what they say they will, especially since it appears that they will do anything to maintain power. But the real question is, can we trust McTaggart or any more than we trusted Premier Alden McLaughlin, particularly when it comes to forming a government? Ooh, honey child. Sandy, you were on point even then. Look, yeah. The short answer is let's look at his past to guide us as to his future behavior. It is often said that past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. It falls under the general area of behavior integrity. Behavioral integrity is the alignment of one's words and deeds. When they do not align, this is a clear warning that they should not be trusted. How can a man who was so against party politics now become the leader of the leading party in Cayman and expect us to believe anything he says, even if said with conviction? Here's a quote. When an authentic leader creates and fosters behavioral integrity, expectations in the organization are cultivated and managed horizontally and vertically. When an authentic leader's actions and behaviors are congruent, levels of trust, loyalty, and engagement are raised. However, in the words of Aunt Lottie, oh, look at Aunt Lottie making it in the editorial section. Yes, sir. Promises are a comfort to a fool. This is especially true when the same person once espoused a similar impassioned statement about being against party politics. The two-term progressive stalwart started his political career as a member of Coalition for Cayman and won his seat in 2013. However, by 2015, many were questioning his position as he had fully immersed himself into the PPM-led administration while still claiming to be an independent MLA. You see, this is what I keep telling you all. It's a joke, right? I can't take any of these guys seriously. When they jump up to me, oh, they're going to form a party and they're going to do this. Yeah. You're going to do it as long as it's convenient for you to do so. When it's no longer convenient for you to do so, it's going to fall apart. All right. In June 2015, it was observed by CNS that, in quote, Roy McTaggart said he believed that the speculation over his position was long closed and was surprised that people were still thinking that he would join the PPM, as he also stuck to his position that he remained an independent member of the Legislative Assembly. We clearly see how well that position maintained itself. So now I wonder, should we believe a man who has proven to change his previous position in political parties to become a card-carrying progressive member and now leader? The only reasonable and logical answer is no. It is peculiar that in responding to the questions this morning, he made no mention of placing Bush back in as Speaker of the House. Now, let's look at what he said.
Independent Georgetown candidate Roy McTaggart insists he is not the leader of any political group. Good evening, I'm Mona Lisa Tatum. Well, Mr. McTaggart says he is looking for endorsement from advocacy group Coalition for Cayman. He will not pledge allegiance to any one leader but the country. Cayman 27's Tammy Suleiman has this interview.
I don't look at myself as being emerging as a leader.
Former KPMG chair and chartered public accountant Roy McTaggart says he is frustrated with what he calls divisiveness in the Legislative Assembly.
Do you think, though, that the problem is not necessarily the party system, but perhaps the parties that we have right now? Would you say that that's where the disillusionment lies?
Well,
Hold on. Did y'all hear the question? So there was divisiveness back then, and Roy McTaggart was interviewed about it? Caymanians, wake up. Our people have always and long been divided, and I hate to tell you all the cold hard truth this morning, but that is not going to change. Okay? So maybe y'all need to accept what is. Well, truly the only way to change it is to change the integrity of what you are elected. And it doesn't matter if they are a coalition, an alliance, an independent, or anything else. Start by choosing better candidates to begin with.
I prefer to categorize it as the party system because it forces, I think, people and politicians into a certain mindset and into a certain way or positions that might not necessarily be in the best interest of the country.
As an independent candidate, he says he is seeking endorsement from political advocacy group Coalition for Cayman. Here at the group's first public meeting, it told the country it is adamantly against political parties.
There are those who are saying if it smells like a rose, it must be a rose. How do you argue that C4C is not a party?
I don't see that at all.
Wait a minute there. Auntie, back it up. Your hand was part of C4C? Oh my God, I missed that memo. What the hell? Yes, sir. Here you go. Look at your hand. Looking young and fresh.
Towards the country, it is adamantly against political parties.
There are those who are saying if it smells like a rose, it must be a rose. How do you argue that C4C is not a party?
I don't see that at all. They are looking to endorse candidates. They're not looking to dictate to them where they go and what positions they should take.
But Mr. McTaggart acknowledges that Cayman's 2009 constitution favors the party system, not making it so easy for independents in the Legislative Assembly.
But it does not preclude in a group of independents.
With that end in mind, Mr. McTaggart says he wants to use his skills and expertise to curb Cayman's spending problem and drop the stagnant unemployment rate. He knows it will take like-minded people to effect that change within the Legislative Assembly. Tammy Suleiman, Cayman 27.
Boy, I tell you what. Praise the Lord for the internet. Archives. Caymanians have the shortest memory of anybody I have ever seen. There is proof right there. Some of you never knew this, never saw this. In 2021, you didn't read it then either. So now, of course, he's in thick as thieves with the PPM, but he's fundamentally changed his position, and I've not heard any logical reason why his position has changed. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Anna. How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you? Happy Friday.
Yeah, same to you. Yeah, listening to your conversation. Yeah, this is a serious thing. What I gotta say about it, this is a serious system, the Westminster system. And what I gotta say about it, it doesn't matter if you're independent or if you're a part of a group. The thing is that matters was what our video was touching on it just now. Your morals.
Right. And that's why I say it goes back to the individual candidates. That's where you have to start.
Yeah, I got certain lines that I'm not going to cross. And the other person got certain lines that they're going to cross. You know? If a person is corrupted and dirty, he got to always be corrupted and dirty. I don't care if he's a part of a party or if he's an independent. Look at even the 12 disciples, all them were different. They couldn't work together.
Right.
So, and the Westminster system forces you to work together. You know, so it has to be a certain leeway to get things done to move the country forward. So that is a contradictory thing, and it's a funny thing that we should look on. In my personal opinion, I think that the Cayman is too small to work under that system. If it was like a Congress or something big where you got more people that they could vote on certain issues, then it could it could work. But Cayman needs a totally different system by it being so small, you know. Otherwise we'll be beating this mall the bush forever, you know, because if you bad and I tell you, well, okay, you're not gonna say I gotta say because I'm a minister. Or you're part of a group. Look at those four that just stepped down. They held their mouth quiet until a certain period, until they couldn't step down anymore because for what collective responsibility they called it. You know, so it's a fun of something. It's a fun of something. It worth studying and checking out. You know. Okay, then. Thank you.
All right, my darling. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much. Tony says, isn't Joey Hugh the leader now? What is he saying on any of this? Will you have him on air on your show soon? Well, Tony, I wouldn't hold your breath. You know, they get an invitation like everybody else, but they're not going to come, I guess, where they feel like they might have some tough questions to answer. Mr. Ramsford says, question, is there any of our present politicians with a political science degree? I don't think so. I stand to be corrected, but I don't think so. We have quite a few lawyers. We have people with law degrees, but political science degrees, no. Miss Darlene says morals. They don't have any morals, just want to get their hands on the money. Next week, we're going to talk about how money impacts people and how it impacts their decision making. And what does that mean for who you should be electing to political office based on what their financial and fiscal position is? Because there's some arguments there. that perhaps we should contemplate and think about. Ms. Darlene said they all need to go sit down. Well, then who's going to run the country? Who are you going to have? Ay, caramba. All right. So we're only touching the tip of the iceberg here. We're going to continue to have these conversations. I'm going to continue to pull up stuff from the archives and, help you guys remember things. Let me just see. What was Ezra Miller's political party that he was putting together? Let me see now. What was that party called? I'm going to tell y'all something. Let me see if I can find it. It was called, and that one never even got off the ground because, again, it was centered around him. Cayman Islands People's Party. They had a headquarters and everything set up. This was back in 2020. Did this list include them? Let me go back to my little list. I kind of don't think that it did. People's Party. Oh, yes. CIPP. So that was the last election. Here's the thing about it. This party said they were going to do things differently. They were going to build from the ground up as opposed to top down. So leadership down. They were going to build and, people would have to apply for the party and whatever. But let me show y'all something. Again, fundamentally, there is an issue. And let me show you part and parcel of what the issue is. Look at this. Two of the people, may God bless their souls, are now deceased, right? But from the onset back then, the thing that struck me about this party is I was like, this is the geriatrics party. No disrespect to our seniors, honey child. But all of them were retirement age geriatrics. I didn't see an ounce of fresh blood. No fresh ideas, no young people, no embracing anybody under the age of 65. And I looked at this and I thought to myself, what the hell is this? This is when you don't know that you need to retire and you're trying to hold on longer than you should. Their website, see ya? peoplesparty.ky. They can't even maintain a website. The website is gone. Are they still registered? Because they did go through and register as a party. So they claim that they had interim party officers, Mr. Donovan Ebanks, deputy governor, former deputy governor, chief secretary, and so on. He's well known, obviously. May he rest in peace. Mr. Gilbert Conley, again, passed away, retired civil servant. Leader Ezra Miller of North Side. They had all kind of great ideas, or so they claimed. And where the hell are they now? Like a long list of these other parties. Where are they now? Folks, look at the list again. Where are they now? The only one that has had a little bit of staying power, and this is why I say give them credit, they're a bit more organized, has been the PPM. That's it. And even to them, if things continue the way that they're going currently based on their last meet and greet, Lord Jesus knows, the thing's not looking too hot for them either. Ms. Magdalene, good morning, says, please talk about some of the salaries that these persons are making, nearly $150,000 per annum for first-time MLAs. We'll get to that. We've had the discussion before, but we can delve into it again. Because I know something that was said a year or two ago, you all have forgotten. And you need to refresh your memories now that you've got an election coming up right around the corner. Live Happy says that's why Jesus said in the Bible, do this in remembrance of me. Humanity's main weakness is memory. Animals have better memory than us. That's why we repeat the same mistakes. Mr. Ranford, thank you, sir. He says, thanks, Sandy. Notwithstanding, if people can and will come together and work with one objective in mind to make Cayman better and utilize common sense, they can do wonders. But if it's just for power and a paycheck, we will be in trouble. And that's why you got to look at the individual candidates, folks. You might get it wrong. You might get it wrong. But if we start to pick based on better criteria, you're not as likely to get it wrong. Some people still shock and surprise you. But what I'm saying is maybe the issue has nothing to do with whether they're independents, party members, or anything else. We need to start looking at solid individuals. Okay? What does that mean? Tune in next week. You and I are going to break it down and dissect it. The team called Defending Buddies. Who are they? Aliano says, what about kids in the youth parliament group? How many become future members of government? Not yet that I'm aware of. I don't think that's been around that whole time, but anyway. Roy says 9 of the 10 wealthiest people on this island are politicians. The 10th person is Dart. Well, that's not factually correct at all, Mr. Roy. I'm not sure where you got that information from. Politicians might be making money, but there are a lot of people way wealthier than them that are not politicians. Let's see if my AI tool can tell us who are the wealthiest people in the Cayman Islands. You may not know because we don't have to file any documents here. We don't have to file documents here, so it's not like you pay income taxes or anything for people to know your true wealth status. But I can tell you it's not politicians, even for what y'all think that they are worth. All right, here's my AI tool. It gave me the top 4 in any event. None of them are politicians, and most of them you've never even heard of. So that's pretty interesting. Let me see here now. Actually, it put Rihanna at number 4. Interesting. All right. Let's get it. Hold on. Let me screen grab this so you can see the first 3, and then we'll do Rihanna separately. Go, Riri. All right. Hold on. Okay. So, Ken Dart, definitely number 1, without a doubt. No surprise there. Hold on a second. I wonder if he don't want to adopt me. Uncle Dart, I mean, I know I'm kind of mature at 51 for adoption proceedings, but you know. Here he is. Ken Dart, approximately net worth $4.7 billion. Cha-ching. Let me say that slower. Cha-ching. Like for real. I don't even know what $4.7 billion looks like. So there he is, heir to the Dart container fortune, specializes in food and beverage packaging, relocated to the Cayman Islands in 1994, and has since become one of the largest landowners in Cayman. His investments include significant real estate developments such as Cayman Bay and luxury hotels like the Ritz-Carlton and Kimpton Seafire. By the way, he's still not the biggest landowner in Cayman, because I know a lot of y'all throw that out, and that's not correct either. Then we have Li Ka-shing? No clue who that is. Worth estimated at $33 billion. What? Richer than Dart? Wait a minute. Is that right? He's $4.7 billion, and this Li Ka-shing is $33 billion. Who the hell is that? Although primarily based in Hong Kong, Li Ka-shing has significant business interest in Cayman Islands, where he has incorporated parts of his business empire, including Shang Kong Holdings and Hutchison Rampau. I don't know. His investments span various sectors, including real estate, retail, and energy. Wow, I need to look him up. Forget Dart. I don't want Dart to be my uncle. I need this Li Ka-shing person. Then there's Myron Wentz, net worth about $1.3 billion. Former founder of US ANA Health Sciences, a multi-level marketing company selling nutritional supplements. What? Wentz renounced his U.S. citizenship and now claims citizenship of St. Kitts and Nevis, but has ties to the Cayman Islands as a wealthy resident. And then Rihanna. $1.4 billion. While primarily known as a musician and entrepreneur from Barbados, Rihanna has investments and connections in the Cayman Islands, contributing to her wealth through her successful cosmetics line, Fenty Beauty, and other ventures. Wow. Yes, sir. I can tell you without fear of contradiction that not a single politician is in the top 10 list of rich people in this country. There are people who have so much money here in Cayman that would put our politicians to shame. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not money hungry and some of them don't need to be reined in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But let's just make sure that if we state something as a fact on the program, you're going to be fact checked. And that is one of those things that people say all the time, but actually isn't accurate at all. All right, let me see here. All right. Okay. Somebody else said PNA, the People National Alliance, Rolston and CG in 2012. Oh, was that not on my list? Let me see. People National Alliance. Let me go back to my list. 2012. Oh, I don't see them here. Okay, so for the list of let me see here now. Hold on. What about the People National? Yeah, that one didn't even make a blip, I guess. Let me ask it to include it and see what it can find. Okay, let's see if it has anything in the People National Alliance. All right, let's see if it picks up anything there. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you doing? It's fine.
Yes. So, okay, PNA, we included them, formed in 2012. Again, there's been so many that I'm not surprised that any system would miss one or two alliances, because my God, that's all we've done politically. Morning, caller. Jonathan,
morning,
how you doing?
Yes, ma'am. Good day to you.
Yes, sir.
Good day to you. The question regarding political parties. I mean, my first question that comes to mind to me is, how does political parties differentiate themselves in all reality from gangs? The mentality that is in there. But beyond that, I think that what we need to recognize and acknowledge is that we can basically look at parliamentarians, members of the Legislative Assembly prior, as individuals who, in all reality, are their own party from the standpoint that they have a collective interest in all of their own preservation. And that experience always will result in negative impacts for the Cayman Islands and her people. We see it in evidence of, for instance, the lack of a referendum law. We see it in other parameters here in Cayman. When it comes to the decision-making process and the allowance, the structured allowance of plausible deniability, and we see it further influenced by the constant back and forth horse trading, or in the vernacular I would use, whore trading, going on between parties, and whatever amalgamation of alphabet soup they come up with every year or so. PPM, UPM, UDP, this, that, the other. And beyond those changes in alphabet soup monikers, you really we haven't seen much differentiation. Overall, it's just who is in power at the time and who is looking to get themselves into power the next time, and who is conniving to get themselves into power by any means necessary. That is what we see. So as it pertains to political parties, folks need to identify the fact that the House itself is a party and due to the structures which we in Cayman are subjugated to, allows that unproductive and not beneficial to Cayman's future trajectory, medium and long term, to be in any way put on a path that is good. You know, the argument, Sandra, that political parties are the only way forward for things to progress, beneficial things to happen. I understand the concept itself, but I think in reality, what we really do need is people who are willing to stand on their own, speak on, and if they can reach a point where the people themselves have confidence in that individual being able to stand on their own. If, only if, we had a system here in Cayman where the actual will of the electorate was what was making decisions, thus, in referendum law. Because right now, where I see it at least, is that we have just far too much power placed in the hands of far too few people. And that structure delivers a system designed and opened to institutionalized corruption, whether it be from the inside or from the outside. I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts on what I've said so far before I can say anything else. But that's the way I'm looking at the situation overall. Yes. The overall in Cayman is to evolve and evolve away from not is working and find and discuss solutions to find ways that do work. I think anybody who's going to be honest and objective is going to be willing and able to identify what has proven itself thus far here in Cayman as it pertains to administration of the Cayman Islands, what is not working. So let's stop the proverbial same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Let us open our minds to pursuing the changes that are necessary for the well-being of Cayman and all of its generations, present and future. So, your thoughts there, Sandra?
Well, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said. You know, we got to have, and I guess my role here is it starts with the discussions and it starts to get people to think about what is it that we even want and what have we been doing and what hasn't been working for us and, you know, what alternatives. But I think these sort of broad statements that, okay, party politics is it, or independents are not it, or independents are it, you know, those sort of broad statements, unfortunately, don't really move the needle and the conversation very far ahead. And I was just simply pointing out here this morning, the history has proven that. It's just it seems that people have forgotten the history.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong, idealistically, for people who share common values to come together as a unified force in order to pursue the implementation of those values. But what we have,
but what are those values? So Tony says party politics in Cayman might not be 100% perfect, but to me it sounds like they offer stability and accountability that chaotic, divided independent coalitions simply have not. Independents cannot. Again, Mr. Tony, outside of the PPM, what other party would you possibly be referring to? No. And so the PPM has done, they're the only ones who've done a better job at the longevity of keeping people loyal. And even within them, I've demonstrated here the lots of the resignations and people have left and gone, but they just chug along and continue going.
Sandra, who is it that actually fares? Who is it of good sense, of genuine altruistic intent? Who fares the people, the electorate themselves, to choose who their ultimate, their at the top of their elected leadership is going to be? Who is it that fares the electorate being the ones who make decisions of national importance by way of legally binding referendum? Who is it? I would propose that it is people who not only are used to, but who are predators within a system that disallows genuine, valid, sustainable democracy to actually have place. And I know that I am been told I speak too long, but let me put this forth to you and the rest of Cayman. We are here in piracy. Okay? As a festival that was brought about originally to bolster the tourism numbers in the slow months. But if you study the history of pirate ships, take piracy itself, put that to the side for a moment, and you consider the fact that our population here in the Cayman Islands affords a unique opportunity due to our small size. We're in a system of decision-making processes at the hands of the people themselves could feasibly be implemented when it comes to decisions of and decision-making processes of national importance. I will give this example. It is well known that on pirate ships, that at any point in time, except for in actual times of combat or in times of a storm, right, that the crew of that pirate ship, this was a common law because of where they actually came from, could vote amongst themselves to depose the captain for dereliction of duty or for some other failure. So we speak of piracy and all of this as a negative. Of course, it is. But we don't talk about the fact that that comes from buccaneers and everything else. It's just another subject here in Cayman that people are not even really taught beyond the commercialization of it, the actual histories that exist. I think that we in Cayman should look towards giving the electorate ourselves the power to make these decisions where it is practical to do so and where, the disruption in society and the community that happens as a result of these decisions being known or seen or perceived to be such a breakdown in the makeup of our society and our community, where you have some who agree, some who disagree. Well, let us use that gift of consensus of the electorate, and let us not accept elected members foregoing their duty to deliver a referendum law instead of doing what is being done right now, making the Cayman Islands people pay for a referendum which will not be legally binding upon this and or any other future government. If we are going to have a referendum, let it be legally binding. Let the electorate ourselves be the decision makers. Because those within very isolated pockets of power and influence are by the very nature of their positions open to undue and illegitimate influences which are not in the best interest of the Cayman Islands and all of our people.
All right,
That's
my
my
dear.
thoughts on this matter this morning, Sandra.
I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, have a great weekend.
All right, folks. Oh my gosh, look at the time already. Some of us got to go now. Got things to do. Miss Darlene, Amber, good morning to you. How you doing, honey chill? Brenda, good morning, says they all need to work together for the good of the islands and its people and stop acting like kids in primary school. That's my 2 cents. Miss Sue says, I pray Mr. Panton runs and becomes premier again. The way I see it, Caymanians don't throw away those 1 cent because Julie will make this country run dry financially. That raised pay should give government workers better place it in fixed deposit because you'll be needing it. I'm just saying, Sue. There's a real issue with fiscal responsibility. All right, we got to wrap up the show. One more caller. Good morning, caller. Final caller of the day.
Good morning, Sandra Lee. How are you?
Good morning, dear. How you doing?
I'm just fine. Just gobbling up the nice weather we got, man.
Oh yes.
Yeah, such a difference between now and this summer that was here. But I know time is not on my side, but I just want to say I didn't get to the meeting the other night at the Siemens Hall, but I listened on top of television. And I wasn't just listening, I was paying attention. I want to openly, all of them, but especially Mr. Ebanks. Okay? That gentleman, he is not just an elected member. If you listen and pay attention, that man is a diplomat. He is very well educated and informed of what he's doing. And he's so cool about what he's doing. Right? He is an asset to the Cayman Islands, and I just want to wish him all the best because I think that he has the interest at heart. And the thing about coming off of the boat with all of the crews, in my opinion, I think they did the right thing because, come on, they have to defend their character and what they stand for and what they don't. So it is something that people have to understand, you know. So I just want to congratulate all of those that was there, the 4 elected members, and I just wish them all the best. Thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right. So somebody sent me this, which will end the show with this note. And it kind of reminds me, really, quite honestly, that we are so much alike. We're so much more alike than we are different. And that includes all over the world, honey child. The United States of America is a hot mess politically. The UK is a hot mess. Most countries are a hot mess when it comes to politics. So maybe the bigger question is, what is wrong with us as human beings? Maybe it has nothing to do with Cayman and Caymanians. It's as human beings, we are flawed in a way that is hard to fix. What they say, Adam and Eve royally screwed us. Anyway, have a look at this. I think this is in New Zealand. Somebody sent me this. I've seen it more than once in the last couple of days, but someone sent this, and this is Haka in New Zealand's parliament was partially suspended. So New Zealand's parliament was partially suspended after this happened. And it reminds us what a hot mess we are in. So this was to interrupt the vote. Folks, what can you say? Yes, sir. Have a listen. Lord have mercy. I think I need to play that one more time. Who wants to see that again? Hands up, hands up. Everybody paying attention? Who wants to see it one more time? Because you watch it the first time, it doesn't quite sink in. I thought it was just going to be her. Let's watch it one more time. Yes? Hands up. Everybody in agreement? Ooh, what a mess, honey chat. Yes, sir. What a heat. That's where it's happening in New Zealand. So the term haka, somebody says, Sandy, what the heck is a haka? What is it? Mr. Tony, let me tell you, apparently the term haka encompasses a variety of dances and performances within the Maori culture derived from the Maori, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing it, words ha, which means breath, and ka, which means to ignite energy. Historically, haka were performed to welcome guests, celebrate achievements, or prepare for battle. So it's like a battle call too. They were also used to intimidate enemies and galvanize warriors. The performance includes actions like foot stamping, body slapping, and facial contortions, such as sticking out the tongue and or rolling the eyes. Ooh, honey child, looks like they took what would we call it, to a new level. Oh Lord, what's it called again? They take, I guess Cayman would call it speaking in tongues or whatever. I've actually seen it performed in other things. Like, hold on, let me show you one. This is like from 2 years ago at like sporting events and stuff like that. So I have seen it performed otherwise. And, sometimes they're wearing like the traditional cultural outfits to go along with it. And it's so much more impactful when that's the case. I've seen it like at weddings before and stuff as well. So I'll show you another one to kind of put it in context. But yeah, if you've never seen it, there's a kapa haka, which is a traditional Maori art form. And they have their tattoos. And so a lot of times the tattoos are actually an integral part of the culture and stuff as well. But hold on one second. I'll show you some other ones. But imagine this happening in a House of Parliament. I mean, and I don't think the guy sitting there looking at the situation, I don't think he was expecting this. He looking at him like, what the hell just went down here, honey child? What y'all doing? And then everybody else joined in, which made it so much more interesting. All right, let me show you a few more. This is a teaching moment, I guess. So let's have a quick look here. But yeah, pretty fascinating actually to watch this. Look at this one.
We perform haka as an expression of pride. Our ancestors are from the Pacific, and we took on a particular form of haka when we arrived in New Zealand. It was used as traditionally in warfare, and so it was about not only intimidating the opponents, but it was about how do we actually prevent degenerating into a battle. And so if you could actually put fear into your opponent, the idea was that the fight wouldn't actually happen. And so when we perform haka, we're not only representing ourselves, but we represent our ancestors.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.